Stories making news.
This budget, make no mistake, would cripple the city of St. Louis.
The mayor sounds the alarm over massive spending increases from the state-appointed police board. I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Maria Kino. What the county executive is telling KMOX about the decision to close 2 pools this summer.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Mostly sunny today, or high 58.
Might get some pool weather tomorrow, actually. We have hockey back in town tonight.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by JTV.com.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is promising a thorough investigation after officials in Havana claimed 4 U.S. residents were killed after they opened fire from a speedboat off the island's northern shore.
I'm very, very confident that we will know the full story of what happened here, and we will know it soon. And then, we'll respond appropriately based on what that information tells us.
CBS's Lilia Luciano.
It's very unusual to see a speedboat going into Cuba. There's a lot of speculation about why into Cuban waters. What the Cubans are saying is that the people in the boat started firing at them. 4 people were killed. We don't know if they're U.S. citizens or if they're U.S. residents, but the boat is registered to Florida, to the United States.
Documents about sexual assault allegations against President Trump missing from the Epstein files.
An index of the Epstein files listed 4 FBI memos about a woman who claims Mr. Trump and Jeffrey Epstein assaulted her when she was a minor. But only one of those memos was released, and it only concerns the allegations against Epstein. California Democrat Robert Garcia is the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee.
Why aren't the documents there? Why have they been removed? And Congress, under the Transparency Act and the subpoena, have a right to see them.
The Justice Department says it is reviewing the index and will release any documents that may have been improperly withheld. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Hillary and Bill Clinton are set to tell lawmakers about their dealings with Epstein. Correspondent Nicole Killian.
The Clintons' depositions follow months of back-and-forth negotiations with the House Oversight Committee. The former first couple has been pushing to testify publicly, but instead they'll appear for closed-door tape depositions.
Hillary Clinton is set to testify today, her husband tomorrow, near their home in Chappaqua, New York. A new round of talks between the U.S. and Iran got underway this morning, with President Trump's threats of U.S. military strikes looming if Tehran doesn't agree to give up its nuclear program. The BBC's Kazra Naji is in Geneva.
This is not just Iran and the U.S. Iran's supreme leader has threatened that if Americans attack Iran militarily, Iran will take the war to the region.
Here in the U.S. and other car makers reporting big losses. WWJ's Jeff Gilbert from Detroit.
Stellantis losing $26.3 billion in 2025. Like Ford and GM, the company putting the big cost of changing EV plans into 1 year. But Stellantis also saw a big drop in sales. This means workers will forego profit-sharing checks for the first time in 15 years.
Stellantis owns Jeep, Chrysler, Ram, and Dodge. Dow futures down 35. This is CBS News.
Looking for spring jewelry looks? Find them at Jewelry Television. New customers get $20 off purchases of $99 or more at JTV.com.
It is 6:03, and right now we've got clear skies, 36 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman.
This budget would absolutely decimate the city's ability to do basic city services across the board.
It could be a crisis, Mayor Kara Spencer says, after the state-appointed police board decided to force City Hall to fund an additional $70 million for the police department.
Those are expenses of the police department, whether or not, Mr. Gravel, whether
Spencer
or not
says she supports the police and thinks they're doing a good job. Just look at the crime stats. But she says you can't spring a massive spending increase like this on a city that's already struggling to catch up on potholes and trash collection.
we don't have those funds sitting around.
State law requires the city to allocate up to 25% of its general revenue to the police, but the city budget director and the police board attorney are locked in a disagreement over how that percentage is actually calculated. Spencer says she needs an answer right away.
We've got to have it very quickly, because otherwise I'm going to be looking at my streets department, my refuse department, and every other city department and making massive layoffs.
Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Police Board Chairman Chris Saraceno told the Dave Glover Show on KMOX that transparency is important.
We all have to be held accountable too. I mean, it's not like you got a blank check and go do what you got to do. When I came on and being selected as the chairman, I said we'll have 5 goals, right? Respect being first and foremost, accountable being another goal of ours.
But Mayor Spencer claims the multi-million-dollar budget increase was sprung on her Tuesday night.
If we're going to be collaborative, having a budget with literally 17 hours to take a look at it in advance of a meeting, a public hearing like this, is just not acceptable. We've got to have a working relationship. I can't, for the life of me, fathom why there was no collaboration done up until this point.
St. Louis County Executive Sam Page has vetoed 2 bills that would have given raises to the next county executive and the next county assessor. Page says the bills are in violation of the county charter and are invalid. Dr. Page said the county charter requires any council-approved salary change for these 2 elected offices to be made at least 10 months prior to the general election, which is November 3rd.
The divide between the St. Louis County Executive and the County Council appears to be widening. Yesterday, we mentioned the council chair accused Sam Page of throwing them under the bus.
One of those divides is Dr. Page's decision not to open up the Kennedy and St. Vincent pools. Councilman Michael Archer suggested several months ago maintenance problems were revealed in an email, which he read from Tuesday night.
We've since determined that a broken underground water return line is a cause, and it's likely created a large void behind the pool wall and the deck.
Page told KMOX about the costs.
It is a heavy investment to repair them. It's tough to make these decisions between core services and having all 4 of the county pools open.
Page says core services include public safety, police, the jail, and roads. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
St. Louis Public Library received a $50,000 grant from the Carnegie Corporation of New York. The grant is in part to commemorate the country's 250th anniversary and also Andrew Carnegie's enduring legacy of libraries across the country. The Scottish immigrant funded the construction of more than 1,600 free public libraries between 1886 and 1917.
St. Louis is home to 5 of those: Central Library and the Barr, Cabanne, Carondelet, and Carpenter branches. Carnegie's $1 million gift to St. Louis Public Library in 1901 was one of the largest he made. That's the equivalent of almost $40 million today.
From the KMOX business desk, yesterday we told you about preliminary approval for a new rec center in the Ville. The organization behind that project, Northside Youth and Senior Service Center, is finding out that the city may be taking away the ARPA money they were counting on to make it happen.
St. Louis aldermen are delaying a vote on reallocating almost $7 million that was going to several nonprofits to pay for water infrastructure repairs and reimbursing the water division instead. Several aldermen pushed for the delay, saying the nonprofits didn't have enough notice to respond before the reallocation bill was filed.
We'll check traffic and weather next at 6:08.
Taking care of your health should be simple. And with the Neovitin monthly subscription, it finally is. Choose your doctor-formulated multivitamin and we'll deliver it straight to your door every month. No more running out, no more remembering to reorder, just consistent nutrition made easy. Plus, subscribers save 10% every month and can pause or cancel at any time. Visit neovitin.com and start your subscription today. Neovitin, trusted nutrition every day.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
If you need a new appliance, this is your sign. Shop at Lowe's now to get up to 35% off and next-day delivery on hundreds of major appliances. A new appliance now means an easier to-do list later. Our best lineup is at Lowe's. Valid through 3/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Order by 4 p.m. Available Monday through Saturday. Subject to availability. Fees, exclusions, and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/appliance delivery for more details.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 6:10. Let's get you caught up here on traffic and weather, starting with Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the only trouble spot we have, Debbie, is northbound Highway 55. I mentioned before they called out EMS for a crash at the ramp getting onto North 55 from Z. I don't think there's one there. I don't see that. But what I did see was the backup on North 55 south of there, and it looks like the left lane is blocked just near the Joachim Creek north of McNutt because of a crash. But it looks like we've got a secondary crash now back behind that. The jam built to a certain point, and somebody ran into the back of that. So now we're backed up just north of Highway A, two separate sort of mini jams, but the end result is a jam north of A most of the way through McNutt on northbound 55, at least one, possibly two crashes there. So trouble to start out the morning in Jefferson County now. And if you're on eastbound 70, you still have the roadwork delays, a little slow at the roundabout on eastbound 70, and then from Warrenton into the Wright City Rest area, it's busy, and it's still backed up briefly through Wright City proper. So still, again, roadwork volume there, but quite a bit of it on eastbound 70. Other than that, on the Illinois side, things look great. Our KMOX commuter Dan did call in about debris on the ramp from 159 to westbound 64 due to a crash. They cleared the crash into the safety beat, but they had to pick up that debris at last check. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg with the latest on our forecast.
Plenty of sunshine today with a high of 58, then clear tonight, though 39. Sunny, warmer tomorrow, high 73. A mix of sun and clouds Saturday, not as warm, the high 65. Sunday will be cloudy, breezy, and much colder. There can be a little rain in the afternoon, perhaps even some snow and sleet mixed in, mainly north and west of the city. Sunday's high just 43. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 36 in Florissant, 36 in St. Peters, mostly clear, 37 downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:12. Two St. Louis County women are stranded in Mexico, and U.S. officials urged Americans visiting the country to shelter in place. Karen Wilson and her cousin flew out of St. Louis Lambert International to Puerto Vallarta last Friday. They spoke with our partners at Fox 2, saying they witnessed the aftermath of a drug cartel leader being killed while they were aboard a cruise ship Sunday morning. They heard a loud boom and what sounded like a bomb, followed by thick black smoke.
There was no transportation for us to get back to our resorts. I feel like we were placed in a danger zone to fend for ourselves.
The women say they were celebrating Wilson's birthday and they take an overseas trip every year. Now they're just struggling to find a flight out of Mexico by Saturday, like they had originally planned.
I'm worried about the unknown. We don't need nothing. We just want to get back home to our babies.
An update to the plans that were approved for a large subdivision in rural St. Charles County on Monday night. The project includes 383 single-family homes and 87 townhomes on more than 200 acres of farmland along the south side of Highway N.
According to the Post-Dispatch, a new county rule will charge buyers of the project almost $2,000 a year to pay for the construction of features like lakes, playgrounds, and a skating rink. That rule will stay in place until 2053 or until the debt is paid off. The current project design includes community gardens, a 50-foot by 100-foot outdoor skating rink, and a baseball field, a playground, and historic markers for 3 barns.
Residents of an historic Kirkwood neighborhood are trying to stop demolition of one of the first houses built there.
You don't want to have a house that's put up that's modern architecture in an entire set of homes that have architecture that's 150 years old.
KMOX legal analyst Brad Young, partner at Harris Young and Kaiser, says the lawsuit may not be successful because there's nothing in Kirkwood City statutes that allows the city to stop a private owner from tearing down a home.
Can non-owners sue to block an owner from demolishing their own home? And that's why this litigation gets very personal and it tends to get very messy.
Plaintiffs are asking for a temporary restraining order while the case is considered.
We are open for business, and we're just taking advantage of the fact that Illinois has not been accommodating.
That's Indiana Governor Mike Braun talking about Indiana's quest to score the Chicago Bears. The Indiana House this week established a Northwest Indiana Stadium Authority. Ron says a deal could be sealed within a month and a half. Here's Illinois Governor Pritzker.
I'm a Chicago Bears fan, believe very much that they ought to be based in Illinois, and I'm going to do everything I can without harming the taxpayers of the state of Illinois in the process of making sure that, we can do everything we can to keep them in the state.
Let's turn our attention to hockey. The USA hockey team that won the gold medal. Some of those players are starting to pop up in NHL games. Last night, this was the scene as the Utah Mammoth took the ice with their captain, St. Louis native Clayton Keller.
Inside the Delta Center, the American flag is being waved by Tusky, and a standing ovation for Clayton Keller as he brings home the gold medal from the Olympics just a few days ago. He is our Dollar Loan Center player profile of the game, and probably running on not a lot of sleep and a lot of adrenaline in these last 48 hours.
Clayton Keller was born in Chesterfield, raised in Swansea, Illinois, and Keith Kachuk's boys, Matthew and Brady Kachuk, will be honored tonight as the Florida Panthers, well, at least Matthew will, as the Florida Panthers take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. That matchup is tonight. Brady plays for the Ottawa Senators. They're at home tonight as well. They take on the Detroit Red Wings. Jack Hughes, who was honored last night by the New Jersey Devils, will be in St. Louis on Saturday, a 4:00 face-off against the Blues. The Blues open things back up tonight. They take on a team tonight by the name of the Seattle Kraken, who, if you haven't noticed, are pretty good. The Kraken are fourth right now in the Pacific Division, trying to lock up a playoff spot. The Blues, not so good. They have 49 points. They're the second worst team in the Western Conference. And right now they're just trying to learn how to be a winning team again. Here is Jim Montgomery, their head coach, on practice yesterday.
So what we wanted to accomplish to get ready for tomorrow night, we feel we've gotten accomplished. Our natural second and third effort on pucks in practice has been very noticeable. And that's why pace has been, for us, noticeable that it's increased. Now, everyone's excited to play a game. And we've been working on a lot of defensive habits along with puck protection to create more offense. And we're seeing that. We've been seeing that the last 2 days quite a bit.
Jim Montgomery and the Blues, they take the ice tonight as they take on the Seattle Kraken, 7:00 face-off at Enterprise Center. Now to baseball, as the Cardinals played today against the Astros. Let's get the latest from KMOX's Matt Pauley. He is in Jupiter, Florida with the St. Louis Cardinals, who won yesterday against the Mets. Final score was 6-0.
One day after making his first spring training appearance of the year, there's now a plan in place for Cardinals pitcher Tink Hintz. Although he's been developed as a starter throughout his career, his injury history has put that role in jeopardy. Manager Oliver Marmol says, at least for the rest of spring, Hintz will be on a relievers program.
Right now, the way we're looking at Tink is keeping him on a reliever schedule, meaning 1 inning to 2 innings at a time, multiple times per week. And then at the end of spring, then evaluating.
Once spring is over, they'll reevaluate if they want to keep Hintz in a bullpen role or start to stretch him out as a starter. Hintz, who broke into pro ball in 2021, has never thrown more than 96 innings in a single season. He has also never appeared above the AA level. But his premier stuff can play at the highest level if he can remain healthy and available. In Jupiter, Florida at Cardinals spring training, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
College basketball yesterday, a win for Illinois State. They knocked off Northern Iowa on the road, 71-69. Southern Illinois beat Indiana State, 66-55. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals and the Billikens, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door. Let my friends at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis come out and perform their 26-point tune-up on your garage door and opener. The work is guaranteed, and it's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. No extra charge for evening or Saturday service. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, since 1926, 100 years. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Who's the greatest to ever wear the Blue Note? Some debate it, but only one is called the Great One. Wayne Gretzky. 2026 marks 30 years since number 99 wore the note, and we're celebrating with an exclusive keepsake on March 10th. The Blues will rock retro jerseys against the Islanders, and the first 10,000 fans score a retro Gretzky bobblehead, courtesy of Amarin. Throw on your 90s sweater and lock in your tickets now at stlouisblues.com.
This is an important message for anyone struggling with $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans. Due to ongoing inflation, job loss, and the rising cost of living, many Americans are facing overwhelming credit card balances. If you're drowning in credit card debt, you may qualify for powerful debt relief options currently being offered by National Debt Relief that can significantly reduce what you owe. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a debt consolidation loan. You could qualify for this debt relief option and only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe. Act now to see if you qualify. With thousands of 5-star reviews online and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, National Debt Relief has helped over 1 million consumers with their debt that qualified for this relief option. So don't wait. Call the Debt Reduction Hotline now. Dial 800-428-5757. 800-428-5757. That's 800-428-5757.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
6:20. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. He has the latest on your ride in.
Yeah, the trouble down in Jeffco, Debbie, right now. Northbound 55 has a pretty solid jam. Actually, sort of a couple of them, but they're pretty much all strung together. Northbound 55 north of 67, all the way up through McNutt. Looks like we got a crash north of A. I can't see what lane's blocked, and it looks to me the one north of McNutt from a distance like the left lane is shut down there. But again, the jam goes back almost to 67 on northbound 55, so it's pretty tough going in there until they get these problems resolved. Police are on the scene, I know, of the one north of McNutt at least. Northbound 55, other than that, north of Bales up the river to Pears, a little slow out west. We still have delays on eastbound Highway 70. Not quite as bad, but there's still a backup at Warrenton midway into the Wright City rest area. And then again, it's backed up through Wright City proper. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64 is just a little slow at the construction zone at 159. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Want a new home in Cottleville? Check out Cottleville Trails by McKelvey Homes. Take a golf cart or walk to downtown Cottleville. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today to learn more about the incredible homes in Cottleville Trails and move up to McKelvey.
Really nice day today. Mostly sunny, high 58, says Joe Lundberg. Clear, low 39 tonight. Tomorrow, sunny and even warmer. A high of 73 tomorrow. Right now, it's 36 in Florissant, 35 in St. Peter's, mostly clear, 36 downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:22. A former Washington, D.C. journalist tells KMOX President Trump's State of the Union address seemed heavily geared toward Republican lawmakers and not the general public.
I don't know that he really succeeded in his mission in trying to suggest that he was, keenly aware of the plight of the American people, particularly on the affordability issue. And it was clearly primed to focus on that.
John Shaw is the director of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute at Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. He says Trump missed the mark again when talking about immigration, as the president didn't show any willingness to compromise. And again, on the topic of Iran, which he said the president only touched on for about 3 minutes.
And that was probably the one part of the speech that people around the world were kind of looking for guidance on. And I don't think he provided any.
Trump's speech marked the longest State of the Union address in American history, about an hour and 48 minutes.
The Trump administration's latest tariff plan could end up before justices again.
If you were a betting person, you could bet that eventually this will end up at the Supreme Court.
KMOX legal analyst Brad Young, partner at Harris Young and Kaiser. After the Supreme Court struck down many of his previous tariffs, the president's trying other avenues using a more obscure section of a trade act that's never been used before nor tested in courts.
Yeah, that's a big problem where, say, a federal court in California rules one way, a federal court in Florida rules a different way. And that's your classic situation where the Supreme Court says we will intervene and make one decision when there's a conflict between different courts in different areas of the country.
What could be challenged? The trade act the Trump administration is using allows only temporary tariffs and requires demonstration of a trade imbalance. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
A bill at play in the Illinois State House aims to strengthen protections against victims of stalking and domestic violence. Illinois Democrat Senator Steve Stadelman is sponsoring the bill and says it will close a dangerous administrative loophole.
Under current law, once the long-term order is granted, the emergency order is no longer in effect. However, because of law enforcement staffing or logistical problems, too many times there's been a gap before the long-term no-contact order is actually served on the offender. Victims are left vulnerable.
Jennifer Welch is with the Illinois Coalition Against Domestic Violence and says the issue of domestic violence in the state is only getting worse. There's been a 130% increase in deaths due to domestic violence in the past 3 years.
There are more than 62,000 petitions for order protections filed in Illinois just last year alone. So we know how critical this problem could be.
The bill awaits passage in both the Senate and the House.
It's now 6:25. Governor J.B. Pritzker says his proposal to boost housing construction in Illinois is vital to bringing down the cost of living, but it's raising questions about the future of some local neighborhoods. Political editor Jeff Buckles.
Governor Pritzker says his proposal is designed to make it easier and faster to build new housing.
Tweaking local regulations, that's really what we're talking about, just to allow a little more in each neighborhood and each area.
That could threaten the time-honored Chicago tradition of aldermanic prerogative, where a local leader gets the final say on development in their ward.
We're going to try to make sure we're listening to all the input that we can from across the state.
And he's pushing back on a claim about the goals of the initiative.
There's been some claim by some of the far right that we're somehow putting Section 8 housing into suburbs. That has nothing to do with this.
He says it's all about creating options for what he calls the missing middle between low-income housing and McMansions.
The Republican-controlled Missouri House has voted to broaden the state attorney general's power to arrest and detain individuals. It gives the attorney general the power to appoint investigators who would have the same arrest powers as other peace officers. Sikeston Republican David Dolan says his bill would increase public safety.
As the attorney general said, whether it is a 26-year-old case or a crime committed yesterday, their office will never stop fighting for victims.
The bill now goes to the Senate.
Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis President Alberto Musalem says he does not wait for government reports to see where the economy is headed. He says while official data is precise, it can lag behind reality for several months. To get ahead of the curve, he relies on a boots on the ground philosophy.
At the St. Louis Fed, we have a saying, which is anecdotes become data, because what we hear when we interact with folks around the district is typically what we hear, not everything we hear, but a lot of what we hear shows up in official data 3 months, 6 months later. So it's really important to have those conversations.
Musalem told a crowd at the Missouri Athletic Club that he spends a third of his time traveling through the St. Louis Fed district, which covers parts of 7 states and 15 million people. He notes these early insights help the Fed to adjust interest rate policy before inflation or shifts in the labor market become permanent fixtures in the national data.
It's 6:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Tomorrow, some of us will wake up and it will be our last day on this earth. It will be unexpected and without warning. Each year, 250,000 people will die from medical malpractice, the third leading cause of death in America. 43,000 will die in a car or truck crash. 6,000 will die working on the job. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, and we represent many of these families. It's awful. Unfortunately, many times, some of these family members are not speaking and never get to say, I'm sorry or goodbye. If you're at odds with a loved one, listen closely. Pick up the phone. Call them. Say you're sorry. I promise a huge burden will be lifted from your heart and your soul will be renewed. Even if you're not wrong in your own mind, it doesn't matter. Death is bad enough. Death without closure and love will follow you the rest of your days. Trust me on this. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial # law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Presenting a Gain Flings love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills.
Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Start your summer early at the St. Charles Boat Show, March 5th through 8th at the St. Charles Convention Center. The top marine dealers from the Lake of the Ozarks will be on site with the newest boats, personal watercraft, docks, and accessories. Step aboard, compare models, and find the perfect ride for your family. Special show pricing and experts ready to help make your boating dreams a reality. Visit lakeoftheozarksboatdealers.com for more information.
Want to build income without a second job? Learn how real estate investing can help you create extra income one step at a time with Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
It is 6:30. We've got mostly clear skies, 36 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, they're still working the crash northbound 55 north of McNutt. The left lane's blocked. I can see a flatbed tow truck coming on from the ramp from McNutt, so hopefully it won't be too much longer before they have it cleared. But northbound 55 is a solid jam back north of 67 up to that crash north of McNutt. Again, the left lane is the one blocked. Once you get around that, you still have heavy traffic from Bayless up to River de Pere on northbound 55. North 270 looks great from 55 all the way up through 64 in Ladue. Out west, we still got a little bit of a delay briefly. Eastbound 70 just east of Warrenton. It's still backed up through Wright City proper. Southbound 61 Wensville Parkway onto the 64 overpass. That's busy right now as well. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64, about midway in from 50 through 159, you have a roadwork slowdown there. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be a decent day today with plenty of sunshine and a high of 58. But tomorrow, sunshine and 73 degrees, 65 with sun and clouds on Saturday. And then we could be looking at rain, ice, and even snow on Sunday. So enjoy it while it lasts. Clear and 36 out there now.
A meeting over the potential Festus data center left residents frustrated last night. The meeting was supposed to center around Mayor Sam Richards asking the council to approve an ordinance to hire a consulting firm for moving forward with the data center. However, our partners at Fox 2 report the meeting ended within minutes after the developer behind the data center withdrew its rezoning application.
So does the police department no longer plan to protect the city buildings and the parks?
I guess I'm not sure I understand your question.
A massive spending increase passed by the state-appointed police board could force the city of St. Louis to curtail filling potholes and leave trash dumpsters overflowing again.
Mayor Kara Spencer says the police board passed a 35% increase to its own budget. That includes a surprise $48 million she found out about the night before, which they say is for building repairs and more officers, plus previously reported increases in retirement benefits. The board also floated the idea of pulling marshals from City Hall unless it gets a service fee. In all, the city could have to scramble to find about $70 million. Police board attorney Chris Gravel.
We understand we have more to work directly with the city, directly with your staff, to get to an understanding of it. The math is not difficult.
Spencer says she supports police and likes the crime stats, but she would have to strip down city services to pay for this.
This budget is a real slap in the face to the city workers who work in every other department, who not only deserve raises as well, but deserve to keep their jobs. This budget would absolutely decimate the city's ability to do basic city services across the board.
Both sides acknowledge the budget is not final and negotiations will continue. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 6:34, your Money Minute next.
Hey guys, it's Dave from The Glover Show, trying to explain The Glover Show. So when I was a younger man, I used to go to happy hour almost every night, and I loved it. And I've always thought of my show as being like happy hour. It's always interesting. It's often silly, but not always. You know, there are real things to talk about. I am amongst friends, politics, and personal things. So that's what it is, really. It's happy hour for thousands of us every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. And I hope you'll tune in and join the happy hour.
It is 6:34, time for your Money Minute from Bloomberg. It's sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Paramount Skydance reported fourth quarter sales and earnings that beat Wall Street projections with revenue of $8.15 billion. Adjusted operating income was $612 million, while investors were expecting $561 million. Paramount this week submitted a new $31 a share bid for Warner Brothers over the Netflix offer. Subscribing to apps and streamers is getting more and more costly. Americans now pay nearly 20% more for TV, music, news, and other digital apps than they did in 2020. A Lending Tree analysis finds we pay $84 a month in total. The biggest jump in price from 2020 to now, Disney Plus, going from $8.75 for ad-free to now $19. Johnsonville, the popular sausage company, is gearing up for grill season with an unexpected new ingredient, Dr. Pepper. The two brands have teamed for the launch of Johnsonville Dr. Pepper-inspired sausage on store shelves beginning Sunday. Dow futures down 65, S&P futures are flat. Matt Piper, Bloomberg Radio.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Make plans for the 2026 Home Expo presented by the Home Builders and Remodelers Association. Friday and Saturday from 9 to 6, Sunday 10 to 3 at Belclair Fairgrounds in Belleville. Meet experts from 175 plus booths. Enjoy hourly giveaways, live performances, and pet adoptions with Gateway Pet Guardians. Admission and parking are free, and over 10,000 people are expected to attend. Proudly sponsored by Aloha Pools, Jacob Family Enterprises, Mid-America Cabinet Refacing, McCullough Flooring, and many more. Get all the details at hbrmea.org.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
It's exhibition preseason baseball today as the Cards take on the Astros. Pre-game 11:55, first pitch 12:05, and you can hear the game streaming on Cardinals.com.
It is 6:38. Hillary Clinton is testifying as part of the House investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. She will testify before U.S. House lawmakers in New York. Thursday, today, starts off 2 days of closed-door depositions that will include former President Bill Clinton. Those depositions are in the Clintons' hometown of Chappaqua, north of New York City. Hillary Clinton has said the Democratic couple's knowledge of Epstein is very limited. Bill Clinton has not been accused of wrongdoing in his relationship with Epstein, but Republicans have long wanted to press the Clintons for answers. Cuba says the 4 people killed in a speedboat shooting were attempting to infiltrate their country. The 10 passengers on a boat that opened fire on its soldiers were armed Cubans living in the U.S. who were trying to infiltrate the island and unleash terrorism, according to Cuban officials. The announcement late Wednesday came hours after Cuba said its soldiers killed 4 people and wounded 6 others aboard a Florida-registered speedboat that had entered Cuban waters and opened fire on the soldiers first. Cuba's government says the majority of the 10 on the boat have a known history of criminal and violent activity. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the U.S. is gathering its own information. It's 6:40 and time for us to get you a check of traffic and weather together. Roger Brand is joining us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, some good news for northbound 55 drivers, Debbie. This traffic reports the service of Meadowview Memory Care. They cleared that crash over to the right shoulder now. I see all the flashing lights on the right shoulder, north 55 just north of McNutt. Traffic is still jammed, though, north of 67 up to it, so it's really not opening up at all yet. Still a solid jam, but at least the traffic is getting through. Of course, that's a construction zone, so there are only 2 lanes available, unfortunately. Northbound 55 is also slow from Bayless up to River to Pear after that. North 270 from 55 all the way up to 64. Ladue looks good. Out west, it's getting better, but there's still some slow traffic. Eastbound 70, a bit of a backup through Wright City proper, mostly just a slowdown there. Southbound 61, a couple of spots south of Highway P down through Wentzville Parkway on the 64 past Prospect, where it's just a little slow periodically. And on the Illinois side, not bad, unless you're westbound 64. Of course, you got that usual roadwork back up west of 50 through 159 that's already in place. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Discover Meadowview Memory Care in Arnold, a small, secure community on a beautiful campus. Enjoy peace of mind with all our inclusive rates and comfortable private suites. Schedule your tour today at rspseniorliving.com.
It is 6:41, and it is time to check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. February has been a bit of a temperature roller coaster, Joe.
That it has been. I mean, we're going to come out in the averages a few degrees above normal, currently 3.4 above normal. But you're right. We've had some big warm-ups with temperatures once already getting to 70. We're going to do it again tomorrow. But then as we open up the month of March, guess what? It's going to go the other way, and we're going to have 2-3 days of pretty chilly weather, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, before it gets warmer again. Today, turns out pretty sunny. The high 58, clear tonight, low 39. The pick of the week tomorrow, hands down. With sunshine, we get to 73. And the pick of the weekend easily going to be Saturday. With some sun, we'll get to 65. I say that because Sunday's going to turn cloudy, breezy, and much colder with a high of 43. And there's probably going to be a little rain in the afternoon. There's a threat that rain mixes with or changes to some snow and sleet later in the day or at night. That would be most likely north of the city. And then behind it, Monday, cloudy, chilly, the high 44. 34 at St. Peter's, 35 in Florissant, sunny at 39 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:42, and the news continues. The intersection of Route 157 and 162 is scheduled to close for months starting this Monday. That closure will start at 7 on March 2nd, with the eastern side of the intersection being closed through October 31st, and then the western side closed until July 31st. We get more from Roger Brand.
Of course, 270, 255, and 5570 are alternate routes to access any of the points in that intersection. 2 new bridges, a signaled interchange, and greenway improvements part of the plan.
Gerard Craft's niche food group is making some changes to Expat Barbecue at City Foundry. It's partnering with Beast Craft Barbecue to transition Expat into Brickline Brew House, a sports-centric bar and event space. The James Beard Award-winning Craft will stay involved by managing the bar and entertainment programming, with more plans for the third-floor patio space. The new concept should be open by this spring. The Chris and Amy Show had the opportunity to speak with Dr. Fred Winninger, the founder of the Animal Neurology Center, the only one of its kind, and it's in Creve Coeur. The center specializes in brain and spine conditions. Since being in practice 1 year, Winninger says he has already treated 2,000 dogs with epilepsy. But just like a neurosurgeon for humans, he does the same types of surgeries. Dr. Winninger went into veterinary medicine because of his love for animals.
And when I fell in love with veterinary medicine, when I realized the value of the human-animal bond. And so as we get into this age of AI, where you can look things up on Google, the ability to connect with humans over animals, telling stories, personal stories about Tucker or Missy or other dogs like that, that's what brings us together. And that's what I've taken most from it.
The Animal Neurology Center also treats cats.
We do see a lot of cats, and they come in for balance disorders. They come in for brain tumors. And those are our most favorite surgeries, because cats will come in with changes to their behavior. Happy cats will be angry. Angry cats will be happy. We remove the tumor. They go back to normal, live a normal life. And my favorite story was of Dominic, who was a cat that we did surgery on. And when we did surgery on him, he was this lovely cat. Afterwards, he was vicious. We couldn't even touch him.
Oh my gosh.
And the owners were like, "Thank you for giving us our cat back."
So how do you know when your dog or cat has to have a neuro exam?
We rely more than anything else on our primary care veterinarians. So number one is to have a great veterinarian. That doesn't have to be a specialist. In general, that should be a primary care generalist. Follow their ideas on preventative care. And then the other advice I would give is get pet insurance. A lot of people don't consider that. But when you're presented with the acute not being able to use your back legs or considering an expensive surgery, having insurance changes the conversation completely to, "I don't know if I can," to "let's do it."
Dr. Fred Winninger, founder of the Animal Neurology Center in Creve Coeur, he was a guest on the Chris and Amy show. It's 6:45.
Teens and sugary drinks might be a more troubling combo than we thought. I'm Cooper Lawrence, health and wellness expert, and this is All Well and Good. Researchers at Bournemouth University reviewed multiple studies linking diet to mental health in young people. They found a consistent connection between drinking high sugar drinks and anxiety in adolescence. We're talking fizzy drinks, energy drinks, sweet teas, flavored milks, the works. This matters because anxiety is already one of the most reported conditions among young people. An estimated 1 in 5 kids had a diagnosable mental health disorder. Scientists are not sure about the connection, though. It's possible anxiety leads teens to reach for sugary drinks, or that shared factors like poor sleep or family stress drive both. I'm Cooper Lawrence, and this is All Well and Good.
I was just over with Mark Cox reminiscing about some great Cardinals memories and the Hall of Famers that have made their way through this town. And the Cardinals Hall of Fame ballot that is out. Cardinals announced it yesterday. Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina. Yes, they have reached that moment. They are both on the Cardinals Hall of Fame ballot that you can vote for right now at cardinals.com/HOF. 2 of the great Cardinals of all time. There are 2 others on there as well, and they were greats. George Hendrick, who was a world champion in 1982, and Brian Jordan, who burst onto the scene in the mid-90s, the two-way player. He played football and baseball. Brian Jordan is on there as well, along with Albert and Yachty. Let's get the latest on the Cardinals from KMOX's Matt Pauley.
Cardinals pitcher Richard Fitz is impressive in his spring training debut with the team. Making the start, he throws 2 scoreless innings, pumping his fastball almost up to 98 miles per hour. Fitz is very much in the competition for a rotation spot, but could also find himself in the bullpen or some sort of hybrid role like what we saw from Steven Matz last season. Manager Oliver Marmol is only focused on Fitz competing for a starting spot for now.
I don't even want to sit here and really discuss like versatility. He can be a guy that can swing back and forth. Like he's competing for a spot in the rotation.
In the Cardinals' 6-0 win against the Mets, Fitz is credited with the victory. And after his day is done, 3 pitchers who are likely to factor into the Major League bullpen, Matt Swanson, Gordon Graceffo, and Chris Roycroft, all throw 1 scoreless inning and are credited with a hold. We also see Jerangelo St. Just, who came over in the Brendan Donovan trade, throw 2 scoreless innings. In Jupiter, Florida at Cardinal Spring Training, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Blues are back at it tonight. They host the Seattle Kraken at 7 o'clock. Robert Thomas has taken a leave of absence for a personal matter, according to the team. College basketball, Illinois State beat Northern Iowa 71-69. Southern Illinois topped Indiana State 66-55. On the schedule today, it includes SIUE at home against Western Illinois, Southeast Missouri State at home against Tennessee State. That's a huge game for first place in the OVC. Lindenwood hosts Eastern Illinois at 7:30. Missouri State's at Louisiana Tech at 6:30. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals and Billikens, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Race car drivers like NASCAR champion Jesse Love are a lot like commercial drivers, pros, but even the best watch the tape to see what they missed and get better next time. The Samsara driving coach does the same for your fleet, giving drivers real-time feedback to build safer habits. Samsara's AI uses billions of miles of real driving data to help fleets prevent accidents and protect drivers.
If it makes me a better driver, it'll make your fleet unstoppable.
because even champions need a coach. Learn more at samsara.com.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They're in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
St. Louis, get ready. One of the most powerful voices in country music is coming to the Dome at America Center on March 7th. Zach Bryan, live in concert.
It'll be fun, but those blood, I'm telling you, baby.
With the songs you know by heart.
You can see now.
One night, one stage, an unforgettable night of raw, honest music. Tickets available now at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:50, time to check traffic and weather. Looks like a beautiful morning shaping up. Roger Brand has the latest on your ride in from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it's still a little ugly down south, unfortunately, Debbie, on North 55. This traffic reports the service of SNL Coin. Still have backed up traffic in pockets, North 55, north of 67, through Highway A. Looks like we have an incident there just north of A. And then about midway up to McNutt, then a jam approaching McNutt to that crash that's on the shoulder just north of there. So a couple of jams, North 55. The one I can see, they cleared the crash. The other one, I'm not sure what the issue is. I can't see that one, just a backup, of course. Northbound 55 after that, Bayless up to River to Pears on the brakes. North 270, a little slow right around the Clayton Road overpass. The white lanes primarily there. Southbound 61, you have a little slowdown approaching P. Then Wentzville Parkway on to 64 Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Eastbound 70 east of A. Through Bryan Road, there's some slow traffic, and it's still bogged down through that Wright City area on eastbound 70 as well. Downtown, we look good westbound on the Poplar, but it's slow on 64 westbound from 50 through 159. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says mostly sunny today and a high of 58 degrees. Tonight, clear, low 39. Tomorrow, sunny and warmer, a high of 73. Saturday, not as warm, but still pretty nice. High 65. And then Sunday, we start to go back to winter weather. We could have some snow and sleet later in the day with a high of 43 degrees, a bit of rain in the afternoon. Currently, it's clear in downtown St. Louis and 36 degrees.
The news continues at 6:52. Phase 2 of the Delmar Divine is underway and should be done by next year. The first phase of Maxine Clark's vision for the former St. Luke's Hospital built in 1904 has been very successful, with the office space fully leased and the apartments 95% leased.
According to the Business Journal, Phase 2 will include 81 units of workforce housing with affordable rents designed to attract professionals like teachers, nurses, as well as students. It will also include a gym, commercial space, and an 8,000 square foot community space. According to a community impact report by PGAV, the Delmar Divine indirectly supports 300 jobs and an additional $64 million of economic output.
Will AI take your job? According to the Brookings Institution, more than 6 million Americans in clerical roles are at risk. The jobs at highest risk for AI disruption, administrative assistants and legal secretaries. Also vulnerable, payroll, court and municipal clerks, insurance claims and policy processing, interpreters and translators, and tax preparers. Women comprise 86% of workers in those at-risk jobs. In the St. Louis region, more than 68,000 local jobs fall into the highly vulnerable category, higher than the national average.
Former Illinois Governor Pat Quinn says George Papa Bear Hallis himself would want the team to stay in Illinois, and says his new online petition drive is designed to help fans send that message to team executives. Quinn today launched Bear Down for Illinois to give the fans a voice as the Bears considered whether to build a new stadium in Arlington Heights or accept overtures from leaders in Indiana. He talked about it this morning on our sister station, 104.3 The Score.
They're going to get a decent deal from Illinois. They shouldn't just have dollar signs for eyes and try to go somewhere else like in the Hammond Hoosiers. No way.
Ever wonder what would happen if a horse sucked on a balloon?
Not really.
No,
but go ahead.
me either. However, some scientists in Denmark gave some horses helium, and that's how they figured out that a neigh is actually two different simultaneous sounds, low-pitched singing and a whistle, both from their throat. They've been trying to figure that out forever, apparently, in Denmark, and it proves that horses are the only animals that can produce two throat sounds at once.
Wow.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our long national nightmare is over. We now have that answer.
Well, with that turned into an interesting story. It's 6:55.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
Speaking of horses, he played for the Colts, but he was made famous with the St. Louis Rams. He was absolutely tremendous. 3-time first-team All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time NFL Offensive Player of the Year, MVP of the NFL in 2000, Super Bowl champion. He's now the head coach at Southern University. He is Marshall Falk, and the Hall of Famer is 53 today. Happy birthday, Marshall.
The birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Remember to send those birthday and anniversary announcements to totalam@KMOX.com. Happy birthday wishes to Alfred Maxwell, Tony Lombardo from your friends at Winchell, Jeanette Cooperman, and happy 49th anniversary to Dan and Mary Elder from Jim and Patty.
This is the best birthday ever.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. You know, when you go to the Audiology Center, you'll see a doctor of audiology. And with us right now, Dr. Colleen Bosler. Dr. Bosler, what are some of the signs of hearing loss?
Well, it's a number of things. Sometimes loved ones notice a person asking others to repeat themselves, or the television is too loud. What people tend to notice first with hearing loss is the loss of clarity. They can hear people talking, but they cannot always understand what's being said. That's because the hearing loss can cause you to miss certain consonant sounds, and those consonant sounds give us the detail to the word. A hearing aid can help bring back those details and give you a sense of clarity that you're missing.
Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 locations in the greater St. Louis area. Call for an appointment, 636-441-7470. Online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Zero Res wants to give your home the love and attention it deserves. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119. Take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and mention the KMOX special.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgaier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs, attorneys, and for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision. It should not be based on advertising.
Zach Bryan with Heaven on Tour.
Poison myself again. Something in the orange tells me you'll never
Saturday,
call me
March
home.
7th. The Dome at America's Center.
Wish I didn't, but I do.
With special guests, Camp and J.R. Carroll. Tickets are on sale now at ZachBryan.com. Don't miss Zach Bryan live.
Let's go back to Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, we're still backed up on northbound 55. Pockets of stop-and-go traffic through the work zone north of 67 and north of McNutt. That crash is still on the right shoulder north of there. There was in the left lane, so it's still pretty solid through there. It hasn't changed a whole lot. A little better, but it's certainly not as good as it normally would be. And it's still slow. Bayless up to River to Pear after that. North 270, Clayton Road up to 64 is heavy. Southbound 61 starting to see a jam. Midway down from P to Wentzville Parkway to 64. Eastbound 70, A and through Bryan Road is heavy. Still have that backup eastbound 70 through Wright City. And on the Illinois side, westbound 6450 through 159, you're on the brakes. From the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Thursday, February 26th. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
It could become a crisis, the mayor says, after the state police board passes a big budget increase for itself.
We don't have those funds sitting around.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
I'm Maria Keenan.
We're going to have some difficult conversations about what are the core services of St. Louis County.
County Executive Sam Page defending his choices to keep core services going.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Today will turn out mostly sunny with a high of 58.
We have a lot going on in sports, that's for sure. While the Cardinals train in Jupiter, look who's back. The St. Louis Blues will be playing tonight. Plus, plenty of college basketball on the schedule. It's 7 o'clock in Mid-America.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Television announcing a deadly incident in waters just off the north side of the island, where Cuba says its border troops shot and killed 4 people on a boat registered in the U.S. Correspondent Nancy Cordes has more from the White House.
The Cuban government called it an armed attack from a speedboat registered in Florida that Cuba says came within about a mile of its north central coast. And then when Cuban border guard troops approached the vessel to ask for identification, Cuban authorities say that the men who were on board the boat opened fire.
Several were arrested. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the U.S. is investigating. American diplomats taking a break before they resume a third round of indirect nuclear talks with Iran that began this morning. Correspondent Charlie D'Agata reports from Tel Aviv.
Iran's nuclear program may be the focus of today's meetings, but Secretary of State Marco Rubio says it goes beyond that.
Iran possesses a very large number of ballistic missiles.
Last June, during the 12-day war with Iran, Israeli residents experienced firsthand Iran's capabilities. Missiles penetrated Israel's vaunted Iron Dome air defense system and U.S. interceptors.
Americans are leaving this country in record numbers.
The Brookings Institution says the U.S. experienced net negative migration last year for the first time since the Great Depression. The country lost about 150,000 people and will likely lose even more this year. Some experts say Americans are leaving because of President Trump and his policies, but others point out the exodus began several years ago as inflation rose and remote work made it possible to live in less expensive countries overseas. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The FBI has raided the office and home of the Los Angeles school superintendent, Alberto Carvalho. CBS's Carter Evans is in L.A.
A source with direct knowledge of the investigation tells CBS News federal agents are looking into allegations that Carvalho may have received kickbacks from a business while he was running the Miami school system.
That business, a failed AI chatbot company. Carvalho's a longtime critic of the Trump administration and the president's immigration policy. Obesity gets the blame for another troubling statistic. Here's CBS's Bradley Blackburn.
Nearly 1/3 of American adolescents now have either prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. A survey by researchers in Chicago of some 2,000 kids aged 10 to 19 found waist to height ratio is the strongest predictor of developing the conditions, which can carry significant health risks.
This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Mornings.
This is a slam dunk.
So cute.
Gail came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time.
Amvuttra vutrisiran is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
It is 7:04. Sunshine, 36 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. In the news this morning.
So does the police department no longer plan to protect the city buildings and the parks?
I guess I'm not sure I understand your
That's St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer. A massive spending increase passed by the state-appointed police board could force the city of St. Louis to curtail filling potholes and leave trash dumpsters overflowing again.
Mayor Kara Spencer says the police board passed a 35% increase to its own budget. That includes a surprise $48 million she found out about the night before, which they say is for building repairs and more officers, plus previously reported increases in retirement benefits. The board also floated the idea of pulling marshals from City Hall unless it gets a service fee. In all, the city could have to scramble to find about $70 million. Police board attorney Chris Gravel.
We understand we have more to work directly with the city, directly with your staff to get to an understanding of it. The math is not difficult.
Spencer says she supports police and likes the crime stats, but she would have to strip down city services to pay for this.
This budget is a real slap in the face to the city workers who work in every other department, who not only deserve raises as well, but deserve to keep their jobs. This budget would absolutely decimate the city's ability to do basic city services across the board.
Both sides acknowledge the budget is not final and negotiations will continue. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Police Board Chairman Chris Saraceno on KMOX told the Dave Glover Show Tuesday that transparency is important.
We all have to be held accountable too. I mean, just it's not like you got a blank check and go do what you got to do. Well, you know, when I came on and being selected as chairman, I said we'll have 5 goals, right? Respect being first and foremost, accountable being another goal of ours.
But Mayor Spencer claims the multi-million-dollar budget increase was sprung on her Tuesday night.
If we're going to be collaborative, having a budget with literally 17 hours to take a look at it in advance of a meeting, a public hearing like this, is just not acceptable. We've got to have a working relationship. I can't, for the life of me, fathom why there was no collaboration done up until this point.
Given the pool's age and extensive repairs needed to operate the pool safely, it's not fiscally responsible to make the necessary repairs.
That's St. Louis County Councilman Michael Archer reading from an email talking about one of the 2 pools Executive Sam Page will not open this season.
Archer is implying that Dr. Page knew about the maintenance problems last year, something Page did not deny when KMOX asked him about the decision to close the Kennedy and St. Vincent pools.
Nobody's happy with the reduction of services, but that's the choice we have to make. We have a budget that is not designed to provide the same level of service as the year before. We have significant cuts in the Department of Revenue, which is making it difficult for them to accomplish their tasks and as quickly as they have in the past. We have a police budget that doesn't have all the funding they need to pay the police officers this year. So we're talking about a supplemental to support that. We have cuts in the health care to the jail. We have a whole lot of things we're going to be talking about. It took about a month for all of our departments to dig through this and understand the detail and the tough choices that we have to make to live with the budget that we've been given by the county council.
Page says, given the $81 million budget shortfall, items like public safety, the jail, and police are priority services.
From the KMOX Business Desk yesterday, we told you about preliminary approval for a new rec center in the Ville. The organization behind that project, Northside Youth and Senior Service Center, is finding out that the city may be taking away the ARPA money they were counting on to make it happen.
St. Louis aldermen are delaying a vote now on reallocating almost $7 million that was going to several nonprofits to instead pay for water infrastructure repairs and reimburse the water division. Several aldermen pushed for the delay yesterday, saying the nonprofits didn't have enough notice to respond before the reallocation bill was filed.
7:09 traffic and weather next.
For 100 years, KMOX has been a part of St. Louis. Now, those moments live on, preserved, remastered, and ready to be heard again. Discover KMOX from the archives, a podcast featuring classic audio from a century of service.
Sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
The KMOX from the Archives podcast, available now at KMOX100.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. Certainly in St. Louis, medical doctors know the best in their field. So it's impressive to know how many local doctors have sought vision care from Craig Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer at Ophthalmology Associates. That's why they're known as the doctor's doctors. Birdie, Malhotra, Brusati, and Royer are expert at cataract surgery as well as the new multifocal and light adjustable lenses. They can also discuss with you the best preventive care and the best treatments for eye allergies, macular degeneration, and glaucoma. You may know I underwent LASIK surgery at this office 30 years ago. The doctors also have an experienced team of technicians to ensure your best eye care. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles, 270 Manchester, and Sullivan, Missouri. 314-966-5000, youridoc.com.
When it comes to lighting, Gray Bar goes beyond parts and products. We help contractors turn plans into smart designs, manage kitting and deliverables, and navigate local codes so you can stay on time and on budget. Smart, scalable, job site ready. That's not just lighting. That's like kicking your project into Gray Bar mode. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's get you the latest on your ride in. The sun is shining brightly, so just keep that in mind. I hope it won't block your vision on the way in. Roger Brand's got the latest for you from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got that jam, Debbie, northbound on 55 from Highway A up to McNutt. They're not even on the shoulder any longer. They cleared the crash a little while ago, but it's still a solid jam through there. The right lane's a little slow at Butler Hill. Bayless up to River de Pears, a little slow after that. North 270 still looks pretty good. They're reporting debris at the end of the ramp, some wood debris from 55 onto North 270. I'm not seeing delays right now, though. Maybe they cleared it already. And again, it's a good run from there all the way up through 64 in Ladue. Southbound 61, south of P, is bumper to bumper down through Wentzville Parkway. It's slow on to 64. After that, it's slow Chesterfield Parkway west to about Timberlake. And then again, the Big Bend Bellevue area. The sun, like you said, Debbie's in your eyes there. Eastbound 70 is still have a backup through the Wright City area. It's a little slow Z to 64. It's slow again from Lake St. Louis through TR Hughes. Actually, it bunches up in pockets through there. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64 backs up 50 through 159. Next update is 720 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather turning out mostly sunny today with a high of 58, then clear tonight of 39. Sunny and warmer tomorrow, high 73. For Saturday, a mix of sun and clouds and not as warm, high 65. Then Sunday, cloudy, breezy, and much colder with a bit of rain in the afternoon. There could even be some snow and sleet mixed in, mainly north and west of the city. The high Sunday, 43. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, bright sun, 35 in Florissant, 36 in St. Peters, and it's 36 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It's 7:13. A St. Louis area contractor who committed almost $2 million in pandemic fraud received multiple years in federal prison as a sentence. 53-year-old Coretta Elliott ordered to pay back the $1.7 million in fraudulent loans and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. According to the St. Louis division of the FBI, Elliott is the owner of a commercial construction, demolition, roofing, and landscaping business.
The FBI says Elliott provided false information on applications intended to provide disaster relief funds for business that were struggling during the pandemic. FBI Special Agent Chris Crocker says Elliott wouldn't have received that much in loans if she had filled out the applications honestly.
This type of criminal conduct, driven by greed,
undermines the integrity of the disaster relief system, and harms those who play by the rules.
Elliott pleaded guilty in November in U.S. District Court to 2 counts of wire fraud.
A meeting over the potential Festus data center left residents frustrated last night. The meeting was supposed to center around Mayor Sam Richards asking the council to approve an ordinance to hire a consulting firm for moving forward with a data center. However, our partners at Fox 2 report that meeting ended within minutes after the developer behind the data center withdrew its rezoning application.
The intersection of 157 and 162 is scheduled to close for months starting Monday.
They've pushed back roadwork in Illinois at the staggered intersection of 157 and 162 until this coming Monday at 7 a.m. At that time, the eastern side of that intersection will be shut down through October 31st, while the western side of the intersection at 162 will be closed through July 31st, 2027.
Roger Brand says the closure will come with the construction of features including 2 new bridges, a signal intersection, and other improvement projects.
St. Louis Public Library gets $50,000, a grant from the Carnegie Corporation of New York. The grant is in part to commemorate the country's 250th anniversary, but also Andrew Carnegie's enduring legacy of libraries across the country. The Scottish immigrant funded the construction of more than 1,600 free public libraries between 1886 and 1917.
St. Louis is home to 5 Central Library and the Barr, Cabanne, Carondelet, and Carpenter branches. Carnegie's $1 million gift to St. Louis Public Library in 1901 was one of the largest he made. That's the equivalent of almost $40 million today. It's 7:15. Hockey is back. The NHL last night. There were many being honored around the country, including Jack Hughes with the New Jersey Devils. He scored the game-winning goal for the United States against Canada to win the gold medal. Hughes will be in St. Louis on Saturday as the Blues will take on the Devils at 4 o'clock at Enterprise Center Saturday afternoon. Tonight, the Florida Panthers will honor Matthew Tkachuk as the St. Louisan and his team takes on the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Brady Tkachuk, who plays for the Ottawa Senators, will be honored as well. His team taking on the Detroit Red Wings tonight. So there'll be a lot of celebrations. I'm not sure how much the Canadians up there, though, in Ottawa will be happy with Brady Tkachuk, but there will be some that will give him a nice little tap for winning for the United States. But that's got to be kind of awkward, isn't it, for the United States player like that to go back to Canada and play for his team? Anyway, Clayton Keller did not have that problem. He plays for the Utah Mammoth, and this was his reception last night.
Inside the Delta Center, the American flag is being waved by Tusky, and a standing ovation for Clayton Keller as he brings home the gold medal from the Olympics just a few days ago. He is our Dollar Loan Center player profile of the game, and probably running on not a lot of sleep and a lot of adrenaline in these last 48 hours.
From Utah Mammoth Television last night, and congratulations to Clayton Keller, born in Chesterfield, raised in Swansea, Illinois. As for the Blues, they play tonight against the Seattle Kraken, and here's another player who played in the Olympics. We talk a lot about this U.S. team and the Canadian team, but Dalibor Dvorsky had a very good Winter Olympics for Slovakia, and it was noticed by everyone. In fact, they're noticing that back in St. Louis, he looks a little bit different. Here's Coach Jim Montgomery.
Popped in here for a second yesterday. I congratulate him on his efforts. But today I talked to him quickly on the ice, and at the end I told him he looks visibly faster and a lot more confident. He's shooting that puck like he knows, like he wants to put it through the end of the boards and never mind through the net. So that was great to see.
And it is big growth for Dvorsky, one of their young players. Blues and Kraken tonight. They'll get going at 7 o'clock. Now to baseball.
Now, a St. Louis Cardinals spring training report. Sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens, and making memories. And by Happy Roof. We always create happy endings on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
One day after making his first spring training appearance of the year, there's now a plan in place for Cardinals pitcher Tink Hintz. Although he's been developed as a starter throughout his career, his injury history has put that role in jeopardy. Manager Oliver Marmol says, at least for the rest of spring, Hintz will be on a relievers program.
Right now, the way we're looking at Tink is keeping him on a reliever schedule, meaning 1 inning to
2 innings at a time, multiple times per week. And then at the end of spring, then evaluating.
Once spring is over, they'll reevaluate if they want to keep Hintz in a bullpen role or start to stretch him out as a starter. Hintz, who broke into pro ball in 2021, has never thrown more than 96 innings in a single season. He has also never appeared above the AA level, but his premier stuff can play at the highest level if he can remain healthy and available. In Jupiter, Florida at Cardinal Spring Training, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Create the ultimate raised bed garden with St. Louis Composting. Our premium compost and soil mixes are perfect for filling the raised beds you'll enjoy building, and even better for growing fresh, homegrown veggies. Imagine harvesting your own tomatoes, peppers, and cilantro for fresh salsa the whole family can enjoy. And with delivery right to your door, getting started has never been easier. Visit stlcompost.com to order a convenient delivery from your phone in seconds, or stop by one of our 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories.
Did you see the forecast? Another huge storm is tracking right for us.
I saw. Honestly, I'm not worried.
Not worried. Your roof is older than mine.
I called Happy Roof. They did a pre-storm inspection, caught a loose flashing that would have caused a major leak.
Wow, I really need that peace of mind.
Protect your happy place before the rain starts.
Booking my free inspection at thehappyroof.com or call 314-897-2310. It's all about the happy ending.
St. Louis Public Library. We've been having stories this morning about how they got a grant from the Carnegie Foundation, and you may or may not be aware of the connection there, but St. Louis Public Library for a century and a half has been St. Louis's original search engine. You still have some time to take advantage of all the resources and programming they've had surrounding Black History Month, and of course they already have a full slate of events for March, which is Women's History Month. Everything from book clubs to art for teens and adults and readathons and movies. It just goes on and on. Go to slpl.org to get the full schedule. Don't forget that the ability to sign up for free summer camps at St. Louis Public Library starts on March the 2nd. Their award-winning summer camps are free, and they're everything from little kids to teenagers. And again, did I mention it's free? Which means they fill up fast. So slpl.org is the place to go. St. Louis Public Library, St. Louis's original search engine, slpl.org.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Back to the roads we go. Roger Brand, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got slow traffic on northbound 55, Tom. It really hasn't recovered from earlier this morning when we had the crash. I mean, it's slow now instead of jam, but there's still delays north of A through McNutt, just heavy traffic running through there. And it's busier now right around Butler Hill. It's backed up as it normally is, Bayless up to River to Pear. So better down south, but still busier than it normally would be. North 270 is busier as well, just we're getting more volume. So it's slow from 55 up to Gravois. It's a little slow north of Doherty Ferry to Manchester. After that, it's not so bad. Southbound 61, Highway P down to 64. There's some stop-and-go pockets, and it's slow on 64 to the Boulevard. From Annie Guns there to about Timberlake. It backs up at the Interbelt in through Big Bend, almost McCausland. I guess the sun's really an issue there. It's getting more solid running through that stretch. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, there are delays now east of David Hochul Parkway all the way into 64. And then from Lake St. Louis into T.R. Hughes, there's a couple of slow spots. And on the Illinois side, westbound 6450 through 159, you have stop-and-go stretches. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be sunny today and tomorrow. Today's high 58, tomorrow's high 73. Enjoy that because it'll be 65 on Saturday, still not bad. But by Sunday, we are looking at a possibility of some rain, sleet, and snow, and then it's going to stay chilly in the 40s on Monday. Right now in downtown St. Louis, we've got tons of sunshine and 36 degrees.
Alarming news about the projected growth in cardiovascular disease in women over the next quarter century. KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer has the findings of a new WashU study.
The research indicates the number of women living with cardiovascular disease will rise sharply over the next 25 years. Nearly 60% of women in the U.S. could have high blood pressure by 2050. Up from about 50% in 2020. And the numbers are growing among younger women, even girls. Dr. Karen Joint Maddox is a cardiologist at WashU Medicine.
Collectively, we're not very healthy. We're eating a lot of processed foods. We're eating a lot of sugar. We're not necessarily moving as much as we should or sleeping as much as we should. And all of those things come together to influence cardiovascular health.
The findings are published in Circulation, a journal of the American Heart Association. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
A new study suggests why some people's brains remain so sharp in their old age.
The paper published in the journal Nature cites neurogenesis, the idea that the brain can grow new neurons late in life. The researchers found so-called superagers, people over 80 who have the memories of 50-year-olds, had twice as many neurons as seniors with normal memory for their age, and 2.5 times more neurons than people with Alzheimer's. Some scientists, though, are skeptical. Other studies have found adults cannot generate new neurons that late in life. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Compassionate care, education, and industry collaboration, the three pillars that shape everything at the Animal Neurology Center. The only one of its kind, and it's in Creve Coeur.
Dr. Fred Whittinger joined Chris and Amy, marking his 1-year anniversary of opening his center, and some KMOX listeners and staffers have taken their dogs to Dr.
Dog like Tucker, if we can fix their back and they get to live another 14 years of amazing quality of life, of course it's worth it. And the reason why we see this so often is when we took dogs and we miniaturized them into dachshunds and beagles and cocker spaniels, we essentially created the equivalent of human dwarfism. And the consequence to that is that their discs are prone to rupturing, put a lot of pressure on their spinal cord. So we can do an MRI and surgery to fix that. And then they have wonderful outcomes.
Whittinger says the allure of veterinarian medicine is the pets can't tell the doctor what's wrong or how they feel.
So we do examinations where we wave our hands at their face and flip their feet over and ask them questions, the equivalent of, could you close your eyes and touch your nose? And from there, we figure out where their problem is. So certainly each disease process has its own breed predisposition, which is kind of a combination of genetics, wear and tear, and happenstance, just like you or I.
Dr. Whittinger says if it's back problems, it's usually the long-backed dogs like dachshunds or the French bulldogs. If it's epilepsy, it's usually Aussies or Labradors. Neck pain can be in a variety of dogs.
Part of the reason why we chose St. Louis to make our mark, not only from a treatment standpoint, but from an education standpoint, is we serve such a large underserved region. So when I worked in Charlotte for a period of time, the next neurologist was 30 minutes away. Around here, the next neurologist is 3 hours away. And so we serve clients from Oklahoma, Arkansas, Illinois, and I'm really proud to put St. Louis on the map as the Center for Veterinary Neurology.
Dr. Whittinger says the most common neural problem that he treats epilepsy.
To this point, we've treated 2,000 dogs in the last year with epilepsy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I'm very proud of how we managed that. Epilepsy is very stressful for clients. Get this stat. 30% or clients who have dogs with epilepsy have a cortisol level 30% that of the national population. It's extremely stressful. They're waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's scary. Is my dog in a seizure when I go on a date? Is my dog in a seizure when I go on vacation? And what we do is we provide them with answers as to why it's happening, and then we give them treatments to minimize the frequency so they can live a better life, them and their family.
While some cases can be heart-wrenching, Dr. Whittinger also has many good outcomes.
Vinny, the cutest pit bull, he was adopted from Stray Rescue, and he came in and he couldn't use all 4 of his legs, and he was in horrific pain. It was horrible to watch. He had a tumor, which has slowly grown over time, started pushing on his spinal cord. We did surgery to remove the tumor, and he's healed. He came back in for a suture removal 2 weeks later, and he's pain-free, walking normally. So super rewarding.
Here's another fact that you may not know. Surgeries for dogs have better outcomes than humans.
Dogs are ridiculously resilient. And I was sharing with Amy beforehand that I have a couple clients that are human orthopedic and neurosurgeons, and they'll come in with their French bulldogs, and I'll show them the MRI on the monitor. Hey, this is what's going on with your dog. And their jaws will hit the ground. They say, my dog will never walk again. And then we do surgery, and they do. So dogs are just incredibly resilient animals.
Is there a reason for that?
I don't know. I think maybe from a survival standpoint, they've anatomically developed in ways to protect themselves, but they are just amazing creatures.
Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
It is 7:28. The time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Saving money is hard, but what's worse is when you save all year, hoping to use that money for a nice vacation, and then your AC unit dies and that money is gone. Now imagine yourself in retirement. You've saved a nice amount, hoping to use it for fun. But every time you take money out of your 401k, you get hammered in taxes. It's a sad fact, but your number one expense in retirement may not be cruises and trips. It could be taxes. At the All Financial Group, we believe in keeping more of your money where it belongs, with you. Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement seminar, Tuesday, March 10th and Thursday, March 12th. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. You must qualify to attend. Call today to reserve your spot, 636-230-8824, or go online to yourmoneymattersstl.com. And services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents nor representatives may give any tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
It's a great time, if there's ever a great time, to purchase a furnace or an air conditioner. I know it's winter. We got some great pricing. You can get 0% financing. So if you have been told that you need a new furnace, definitely give me a call. I could probably save you lots of money. Get a second opinion. Call me. Next day installs for your furnace so you won't be without heat. Very long. A furnace average install about 2-3 hours for a furnace. So not a big issue to do it now. And like I said, great pricing. So if that's you, call me. It's Bart Inman. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois. Just the easiest number. And there's one. 314-293-2600. Again, 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, it is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Let's go! You've still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Sunny sky, 37 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Tom Ackerman.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and this is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, driving up 55, we're steadily seeing improvements, at least down south. So we just have a slowdown now through McNutt, where earlier it was jammed from 67 through there. So that's a lot better than it was. And then the right lanes just kind of busy north of Butler Hill to 270. All lanes from the Union Road overpass up across River to Pear are pretty heavy. There's a backup as you ramp onto North 270 from 55. Again, we had wood debris reported at the end of the ramp, and now it looks like we have a minor crash there. So it's continued delays. That goes up through the Tees Road overpass. Then it's slow Tesson Ferry through Gravois and north of Big Bend most of the way to Ladue. South 270 approaching Olive down to Ladue is slow. Eastbound 70, I mentioned David Hochul Parkway. Now we're looking at the way scales east of Forestell. You've got heavy traffic into 64. And then from Lake St. Louis, it's pockets in through T.R. Hughes. Southbound 61. Highway P, it's backed up periodically down onto 64, slow from there to the Boulevard. Annie Guns to about Timberlake, and it's a solid jam from McKnight in through Bellevue. And westbound 64, Hampton headed to Hanley's heavy. South 170 delays at the Parkway. Downtown westbound 64. Ball Avenue to 3rd Street's the worst of it there, but it's a solid jam 50 through 159 in the construction zone. Next update is 740 for the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Spring weather for the next 3 days. Sunny 58 today, sunny 73 tomorrow, 65 for the high on Saturday, but we will get some rain and maybe even some snow and sleet mixed in the afternoon on Sunday with a high of just 43. It's 38 right now.
It is 7:32, and a man sentenced to 18 years in prison for sexually abusing a minor. 52-year-old Giovanni Falcone appeared in Missouri federal court yesterday after sexually abusing a 15-year-old girl he contacted through Instagram.
Court records show another juvenile claimed Falcon had sexually abused them. Falcon is a Mexican national who's in the U.S. illegally and will be deported after his prison sentence.
That is from our partners at Fox 2.
2 St. Louis County women are stranded in Mexico after urges by U.S. officials for Americans visiting the country to shelter in place. Our partners at Fox 2 report Karen Wilson and her cousin flew out of St. Louis Lambert International Airport to Puerto Vallarta last Friday. They witnessed the aftermath of a drug cartel leader being killed while aboard a cruise ship Sunday morning, including the loud boom of what sounded like a bomb followed by thick black smoke. Here's what they said.
There was no transportation for us to get back to our resorts. I feel like we were placed in a danger zone to fend for ourselves.
The women say they were celebrating Wilson's birthday and said they take an overseas trip every year. Now they're struggling to find a flight out of the country by Saturday like they originally planned.
I'm worried about the unknown. We don't need nothing. We just want to get back home to our babies.
As you heard here on KMOX, a group of Kirkwood residents suing to save an historic Kirkwood home from demolition. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young tells Total Information AM there's only so much the city can do.
Under Kirkwood statutes, the Kirkwood City Council is empowered to delay a demolition for up to, I believe, 30 days, but there's no power in Kirkwood statutes to prevent or completely stop a demolition activity.
Young says unless Kirkwood changes its laws, there may not be much a court can do. The home is more than 150 years old and one of the first homes in Kirkwood.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 7:34. Your Money Minute is next.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hardworking, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
It is 7:36. Let's get you updated on your Bloomberg Money Minute, sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Rolls-Royce Holdings will buy back as much as $12 billion in company stock over the next 2 years. It's also raised its mid-year profits as company shares have gone on a record run. They've doubled in the space of the past year, boosting Rolls-Royce's market value to nearly $150 billion. The CEO of Netflix, Ted Sarandos, is headed to the White House today to discuss the streamer's bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. The meeting comes as Warner Brothers said it got Paramount's latest offer, which was revised this week and could be better at $31 a share. The offer comes as the Justice Department investigates Netflix's market and negotiating power. What's called set jetting is becoming more and more popular, where people can plan vacations based on locations featured in film and TV. Expedia says 81% of Gen Z and millennial travelers plan vacations based on locations they've seen on shows, contributing an estimated $8 billion from U.S. travelers alone. Matt Piper, Bloomberg Radio.
What matters to you matters to us. That's why Busey Bank takes the time to understand your goals and build solutions that fit your story. From everyday banking to long-term planning, our team is here to help you navigate every stage with care and expertise. We're more than a bank. We're your neighbor, your advisor, and your advocate. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
I'm Dan Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, millions of people called us for representation. Why? Because trust grows when you win, and we've won a lot. Over $30 billion and counting. When you call America's largest injury law firm, you're calling a family. You're calling an army, our army. You're calling somebody who will fight for you. Injured? Let our family fight for your family. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Shows Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
It's 7:39. Hillary Clinton is testifying as part of the House investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. Former Secretary of State Clinton will testify before U.S. House lawmakers in New York as part of a congressional investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Thursday starts off 2 days of closed-door depositions that will include former President Bill Clinton. The depositions are in the Clintons' hometown of Chappaqua, north of New York City. Hillary has said the Democratic couple's knowledge of Epstein is very limited. Bill has not been accused of any wrongdoing in his relationship with Epstein, but Republicans have long wanted to press the Clintons for answers.
Cuba says 4 people killed in a speedboat were attempting to infiltrate their country. Cuba says the 10 passengers on a boat that opened fire on its soldiers were armed Cubans living in the U.S. who were trying to infiltrate their island and unleash terrorism. Cuba says its soldiers killed 4 people and wounded 6 others aboard a Florida-registered speedboat that had entered Cuban waters and opened fire on the soldiers first. Cuba's government says the majority of those 10 people on the boat have a known history of criminal and violent activity. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the U.S. is gathering its own information.
Let's hit the roadways with Roger Brand, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, they're working on clearing that crash I mentioned on North 270 in South County. This traffic reports a service of U.S. Air Force Band of Mid-America free concerts, but they still have the left lane blocked just temporarily, so traffic is jammed back onto 55 if you're on northbound Highway 270 right now. And, of course, northbound 55 drivers, you've got the heavy traffic in the right lane south of Butler Hill up to that point, and then it's the usual backup from the Union Road overpass headed up through Loughborough and Virginia. North 270 north of that crash, you've just got slow traffic from 44 up to Ladue. South 270, 364 down to Ladue is busy. Eastbound 70, east of David Hochul into Wentzville Parkway is crowded. Lake St. Louis into T.R. Hughes, there's slow stuff a little busy. 94 5th Street. Southbound 61, north of Wentzville Parkway onto 64 to the Boulevard. From Boone's Crossing to Timberlake. Stop and go from east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt opens up at Big Bend. South 170 delays at Olive. Westbound 64 Science Center to Big Bend slow. Westbound 64 on the Illinois side, 50 through 159 is backed up, and it's slow from Baugh to the Poplar. Next update is 7:50 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Don't miss the U.S. Air Force's Shades of Blue Jazz Ensemble, February 25th through March 4th. Enjoy big band swing, patriotic favorites, and more. Get free tickets and locations at afbandtix.org. That's afbandtix.org.
Okay, it is 7:42. We have bright sunshine in downtown St. Louis. Looks like it's going to be a nice day, Joe Lundberg.
It is, Debbie. I think it's going to be a beautiful day, but if you like today, I think you're really going to love tomorrow because we're at about 15 degrees to the high. 58 today, down to 39 with clear skies tonight. Sunny tomorrow and warmer, the high 73. Now, we back off from that mid-60s with some sunshine on Saturday, but then it clouds up and it turns colder for Sunday. In fact, a little rain is likely in the afternoon with a high 43. That may become a wintry mix Sunday night before it exits. Monday will be chilly with clouds and a high of 44. Right now, 34 at St. Peter's, 37 at Florissant, sunny, 38 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Joe, thank you. It's 7:42. A bill at play in the Illinois State House aims to strengthen protections against victims of stalking and domestic violence. Illinois Democrat Senator Steve Stadelman is sponsoring the bill and says the bill will close a dangerous administrative loophole.
Current law, once the long-term order is granted, the emergency order is no longer in effect. However, because of law enforcement staffing or logistical problems, too many times there's been a gap before the long-term no contact order is actually served on the offender. Victims are left vulnerable.
Stadelman said constituent Elizabeth Malone of Winnebago County brought the issue to his attention when she fell victim to the gap herself. Malone was a victim of harassment and says local police were unable to enforce the final protective order she received because it had not been served yet and her emergency order had expired.
I did everything right. I went to court. I told my story. I was granted protection. And for a month, I believed that I was protected by a court order. In reality, I was not.
The bill is awaiting passage in both the Senate and the House.
The Missouri House gave initial approval yesterday to broadening the state attorney general's power to arrest and detain individuals. As Libby Howell reports, Democrats say that is governmental overreach.
Republicans argue the bill would add a level of protection for individuals and increase public safety. It would allow the Attorney General to appoint investigators who would have the same arrest powers as other peace officers. But Columbia Democrat David Tyson Smith argued it's not the time to give the Attorney General more power. He called upon Republicans to, in his words, stand up to the governor or the president. An amendment that would have extended the same powers to alcohol and tobacco control officers and the state fire marshal's office was defeated. I'm Libby Howell.
We always hear the final decisions from the Federal Reserve regarding interest rates, but rarely do we hear what it's like inside the room where those decisions happen. Alberto Musalem, president of the St. Louis Fed, took the helm of the bank 2 years ago after a long career at the New York Fed and in the private sector. At the Missouri Athletic Club yesterday, he gave us a glimpse inside the high-stakes two-day policy meetings in Washington, where 19 members and their research teams debate the future of the $30 trillion U.S. economy.
The first day, I would call it a level setting day, and the second day is when we actually make the policy decision. And the first day, the staff that is around the table and at the table presents on the economy, on financial markets, on the financial system. There's an active debate around the table and questions and answers around their presentations. Then each of the presidents brings their views to the table about what's happening in the economy, what they're hearing. Everything we do in that two-day meeting is with that objective in mind.
Musalem says he takes copious notes during these sessions to ensure the diverse, more industrial needs of the Midwest are represented at the table alongside the financial interests of Wall Street and Washington. It's 7:45. Well, it is time for Blues hockey once again. The Blues will be playing the Seattle Kraken tonight, a 7 o'clock face-off at Enterprise Center. Last night, Jack Hughes was honored as the New Jersey Devils were back in action, and Hughes will actually be in St. Louis on Saturday. The Devils are coming here to take on the Blues. That one is a 4 o'clock face-off. Saturday night at Chaffetz Arena, the St. Louis Billikens will be back in action. They've got some work to do after losing at Dayton earlier this week. They take on Duquesne on Saturday, and we will have that for you at 7 o'clock with a 6:45 pregame. The Billikens can't afford to lose another regular season game and probably need to advance to the final of the A-10 tournament to get themselves that at-large bid. Of course, winning that tournament will automatically put them into the NCAA tournament. Mizzou's in much better shape right now, actually, and you couldn't say the same for them a month ago, but here they are with one more SEC win. They're pretty much a lock, and they might be already, as they were able to capture a win at home against number 22 Tennessee a couple of days ago. Illinois is in great shape right now. They're looking at how high of a seed can they get, and ooh, what a tasty matchup that is tomorrow night in Champaign. Illinois and number 3 Michigan. They'll be playing at Illinois tomorrow night. College basketball is coming next week to St. Louis. It will be the NCAA tournament bid on the line for the Missouri Valley Conference. Arch Madness will be taking place, and the matchups yesterday included Southern Illinois continuing to look good. They're coming into St. Louis with some momentum. They beat Indiana State 66-55. Illinois State top Northern Iowa 71-69. The number 1 seed for that event is Belmont. They already are rolling. They're 26-4 overall this season. The ballot is out for the Cardinals Hall of Fame, and a couple of big names are on there. Here's one of them.
And another pitch from Oliver to
Albert Pujols with no one on and 2 out, 2-2 delivery. Swinging another home run. There it is, his third of the game. Albert Pujols 5 for 5 with 3 home runs. And it's now 16-7. What a game from Albert Pujols here tonight. 5 for his last 5 with a 3-run homer, a 2-run homer, now a solo blast.
Game 3 of the 2011 World Series, Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina are on the ballot for the first time for the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Also joining them, Brian Jordan and George Hendrick. You can vote by going to cardinals.com/HOF. The Cardinals play today. They take on the Houston Astros in Jupiter. You can hear that game at 12:05 at cardinals.com. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals and Billikens. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
In a world of change, music captures the journey of the human spirit. Join the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra for Bernstein and Robertson, American Reflections, March 6th and 7th. Conductor David Robertson returns to Powell Hall to present works by 4 American luminaries, including Leonard Bernstein's Symphony No. 2 and Robertson's own piano concerto, March 6th and 7th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Is your furnace on its last legs? Don't wait for a cold night to find out. Jerry Kelly and KMOX are giving you the chance to win a brand new furnace this winter season. Just go online to KMOX.com/contest through March 1st and nominate someone who you think deserves a brand new furnace. Sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. Win a brand new furnace. For more information and contest rules, just head to KMOX.com/contest.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:51. It's time to check in with Roger Brand, who's in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they cleared that crash, Debbie, we had on North 270, north of 55. It's on the right shoulder now, so the ramp's still backed up from North 55, but at least all the lanes are open there. Northbound 55 itself is bogged down in the right lane south of Butler Hill, and it's backed up from Bayless up across River to Pear. North 270, once you get past that crash, near the Tees Road overpass, it is slow north of 44 all the way to Ladue. South 270, approaching Olive down to Ladue is kind of busy. Eastbound 70, David Hoagland to Wentzville Parkway is still slow. East of A through Bryan Road and K through T.R. Hughes, 94 to 5th Street. Those are all slowdowns. Also a little slow Bermuda Lucas Hunt after that. Southbound 61, heavy pockets from Highway P down onto 64 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard, from Boone's Crossing to Clarkson, from Lindbergh into Big Bend. South 170 bogs down at Olive. Westbound 64, Hampton to Big Bend's heavy. Westbound 64 on the Illinois side jam, 50 to 159, and it's slow from 70 to the Poplar. Next update is 7:58 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg says we're going to have a nice day today with high approaching 60. Tomorrow, it's going to be 73 degrees as a high for Friday with a sunny sky. Currently, we're getting up to 40 and sunny in downtown St. Louis.
It is 7:52 and the news continues on KMOX. A mother and her son rescued from their home in Cahokia Heights on Monday after being held hostage for 3 days. 28-year-old Johnny Turner Jr. briefly dated, according to Fox 2, the mother, who he repeatedly assaulted, along with the son, who has both physical and mental disabilities. The son escaped from the home Monday, ran to a nearby hardware store to beg for help. Police quickly surrounded the apartment, locked down the hardware store, and started what would end up as a 5.5-hour standoff. When officers made entry with a search warrant, they found the mother restrained in severe life-threatening condition. Both the mother and son expected to make full recoveries, and the suspect charged with 5 felonies, including aggravated kidnapping.
Governor J.B. Pritzker says his proposal to boost housing construction in Illinois is vital to bringing down the cost of living, but it's raising questions about the future of some local neighborhoods. Here's political editor Jeff Buckles.
Governor Pritzker says his proposal is designed to make it easier and faster to build new housing.
Tweaking local regulations, that's really what we're talking about, just to allow a little more in each neighborhood and each area.
That could threaten the time-honored Chicago tradition of aldermanic prerogative, where a local leader gets the final say on development in their ward.
We're going to try to make sure we're listening to all the input that we can from across the state.
And he's pushing back on a claim about the goals of the initiative.
There's been some claim by some of the far right that we're somehow putting Section 8 housing into suburbs. That has nothing to do with this.
He says it's all about creating options for what he calls the missing middle between low-income housing and McMansions.
The legality of a new round of tariffs imposed by the Trump administration is still in question. Total Information AM asked KMOX legal analyst Brad Young.
The Trade Act being used by the president authorizes tariffs of up to 15% for only 150 days. What happens after? And is there cause to even use that law? Young says there has to be a demonstrated trade deficit.
For example, right now our trade with China, they sell to us $190 billion more in goods than we sell to them. But other countries like England, for example, we have a trade surplus.
Young says the act has never been used before, which means no courts have ever interpreted how it should be applied. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
The head of an Illinois Public Policy Institute tells KMOX President Donald Trump's State of the Union address wasn't aimed at smoothing over the concerns of Americans. Instead, he says the speech centered around what he refers to as TV visuals.
It's devolved into a sort of degrading ritual. It's almost like each State of the Union, you have to re-up it and find a few more tragedies to highlight and a few more, successful sports teams to bring on the stage.
John Shaw, director of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute at Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, says Trump's awarding of medals aren't a first for the speech, which has seen similar displays since former President Ronald Reagan.
Every president since has used this technique to varying degrees of success. Frankly, I find it pretty hokey. And I also, frankly, find it somewhat offensive when a lot of these play on the tragedies of people.
Trump's speech marked the longest address in American history, totaling around an hour and 48 minutes.
Governor Pritzker says Team Illinois isn't giving up on the Chicago Bears.
The leaders of Arlington Heights and the surrounding communities all seem to be on board as well. So again, this is really, it's in the legislature. The legislators themselves have to make decisions about this.
Legislators next door in Indiana have already decided. The State House voted this week to establish a stadium authority in Hammond, Indiana. And Indiana's Governor Mike Braun says he's been in discussions with the Bears for 3 or 4 months.
I's to be dotted, T's to cross, due diligence that will take a month and a half or 2, but we're well into it. And we're going to be honest brokers, just like we have been.
You know, the song Bear Down Chicago Bears has a line in it. You're the pride and joy of Illinois. It's 7:57.
I'm Dr. Colleen Bosler with the Audiology Center, and I'm talking with my associate, Dr. Adam Voss. What happens to a person's brain when they ignore their hearing loss?
There is such a strong connection between the ear and the brain. Ignoring your hearing loss can cause the brain to become lazy and the speech areas in the brain to shrink. This is partially why you can hear the words, but you cannot understand them. If a hearing loss goes untreated for too long, it may cause an irreversible change in the brain. It is incredibly important to have your hearing screened at 60 or older, or sooner if you're noticing difficulty. And the sooner someone treats their hearing loss, the better and quicker their brain will adapt to hearing sound again. Studies show that those who get hearing aids, even with a mild hearing loss, are much more successful hearing aid users as compared to those that wait longer.
So call us today to get your comprehensive hearing evaluation with one of our doctors. 636-441-7470. Or visit us online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Larry Older here. You know, one of the most rewarding parts of sharing Relief Factor with you is hearing real stories like that of Sandra. She tells us, I've been hearing about Relief Factor on the radio for a couple of years, and I finally decided to try it because nothing else was helping my back pain. I know the feeling. With a 3-week quick start, she said, I went for it. Now I feel like a new person. That's Sandra's own words, and it's so gratifying to hear. I've told you about my brother Kirk having difficulty going up and down the stairs in the morning. He wouldn't listen to me. I told him to take Relief Factor. He finally did. Began moving better, feeling stronger. Too bad he didn't listen earlier. Try it for yourself. The 3-week quick start. And see how Relief Factor could be your game changer too. It is only $19.95. Think about it. Do the math. Less than $1 a day. So call 800-4RELIEF. That's 800, the number 4RELIEF, or go to relieffactor.com. All one word, relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? 800-4RELIEF, relieffactor.com.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to rbastl.com.
Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, W northbound 55 is slow south of Butler Hill up to 270, and again Bayless up to River to Pear, north 270 north of 44 up to Ladouze, heavy eastbound 64 from the 70 split through Lake St. Louis Boulevard is slow. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're approaching 40 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Tom Ackerman. These are the stories making news.
This budget, make no mistake, would cripple the city of St. Louis.
The mayor sounds the alarm over massive spending increases from the state-appointed police board. I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
I'm Debbie Monterrey. Non-native plants, insects, and animals can cause problems in your backyard. We'll get more from Davy Tree arborist Alec Hall.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Mostly sunny today, our high 58.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Cuba's president has just warned the island nation will defend itself against any terrorist aggression after Havana claimed its border troops shot and killed 4 U.S. residents in an American-registered speedboat who opened fire. Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
It is highly unusual to see shootouts in open sea like that.
Rubio says the U.S. is investigating.
I'm very, very confident that we will know the full story of what happened here, and we will know it soon. And then, we'll respond appropriately based on what that information tells us.
Cuban officials claim the majority of the 10 people who were on the speedboat have known histories of criminal and violent activity. Hillary and Bill Clinton are set to reveal their dealings with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in testimony for lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Correspondent Nicole Killian is in New York.
The former first couple has been pushing to testify publicly, but instead they'll appear for closed-door tape depositions that will later be released by the panel. They were subpoenaed last year and threatened with contempt of Congress for failing to show for a previous deposition as part of the committee's investigation into the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case.
Hillary Clinton is set to testify today, her husband tomorrow, near their home in Chappaqua, New York. The U.S. and Iran are expected to resume negotiations shortly in a third round of nuclear talks that began this morning as President Trump deploys warships and aircraft to the Middle East. The country's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi.
We are ready to remove concerns, but we are not ready to give up our rights for peaceful use of nuclear technology. This is what we demand.
Wonder why some people stay sharp as tacks into their 80s and 90s and others don't?
The paper published in the journal Nature cites neurogenesis, the idea that the brain can grow new neurons late in life. The researchers found so-called superagers, people over 80 who have the memories of 50-year-olds, had twice as many neurons as seniors with normal memory for their age, and 2.5 times more neurons than people with Alzheimer's. Some scientists, though, are skeptical. Other studies have found adults cannot generate new neurons that late in life. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
North Korea is hinting it's interested in improving ties with the U.S. Alex Jensen reports from Seoul.
Peaceful coexistence
or eternal confrontation. Those are the two options presented to the US by North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, although he's sidelined American ally South Korea by restating his country's hostility towards Seoul.
This is CBS News.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 38 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Thursday, February 26th. I'm Megan Lynch. The intersection of Route 157 and 162 in the Metro East scheduled to close for months starting this Monday. The closure will start at 7 a.m. March 2nd, with the eastern side of the intersection being closed through October 31st, the western side until July 31st of 2027. KMOX's Roger Brand has more.
Of course, 270, 255, and 5570 are alternate routes to access any of the points in that intersection. 2 new bridges, a signaled interchange, and greenway improvements part of the plan.
A man is sentenced to 18 years in prison for sexually abusing a minor. Our partners at Fox 2 report 52-year-old Giovanni Falcon appeared in Missouri federal court yesterday after sexually abusing a 15-year-old girl he contacted through Instagram.
Court records show another juvenile claimed Falcon had sexually abused them. Falcon is a Mexican national who's in the U.S. illegally and will be deported after his prison sentence.
A mother and her son rescued from their home in Cahokia Heights Monday after being held hostage for 3 days. Our partners at Fox 2 report 28-year-old Johnny Turner Jr. briefly dated the mother, who he repeatedly assaulted along with her son, who has both physical and mental disabilities. The son escaped from the house Monday and ran to a nearby hardware store to beg for help. Police quickly surrounded the apartment, locked down the hardware store, and started what would end up as a 5.5-hour standoff. When officers made entry with a search warrant, they found the mother still restrained in severe life-threatening conditions. Both the mother and son expected to make a full recovery. The suspect charged with 5 felonies, including aggravated kidnapping. A St. Louis area contractor who committed almost $2 million in pandemic fraud received multiple years in prison last night. 53-year-old Coretta Elliott ordered to pay back the $1.7 million in fraudulent loans and was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. The St. Louis division of the FBI says Elliott is the owner of a commercial construction, demolition, roofing, and landscaping business. The FBI says Elliott provided false information on applications intended to provide disaster relief funds for business that were struggling during the pandemic. FBI Special Agent Chris Crocker says Elliott would not have received that much in loans if she had filled out the applications honestly.
This type of criminal conduct, driven by greed, undermines the integrity of the disaster relief system and harms those who play by the rules.
Elliott pleaded guilty in November in U.S. District Court to 2 counts of wire fraud. The adversarial relationship between the St. Louis County Council and Executive Sam Page on full display.
He is throwing a temper tantrum because he did not get his way.
Councilman Michael Archer talking about Dr. Page and his decision not to open 2 pools this summer. KMOX asked Page about that decision.
Well, we have to make a lot of tough decisions. This is the budget that the council gave me, and the direction I received was to transfer the money around and make choices.
Page maintains county services cannot continue at last year's level, but Archer says the closure of Kennedy has more to do with deferred maintenance than a lack of funds. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
And County Executive Sam Page has vetoed 2 bills that would have given raises to the next county executive and assessor. Page says the bills are in violation of the county charter and are invalid. Page says the county charter requires any council-approved salary change for the 2 elected offices to be made at least 10 months prior to the general election. Police Board Chairman Chris Saraceno told the DGS on KMOX Tuesday, transparency is important.
We all have to be held accountable too. I mean, just it's not like you got a blank check and go do what you got to do. Well, when I came on and being selected as the chairman, I said we'll have 5 goals, right? Respect being first and foremost. Accountable being another goal of ours.
Mayor Spencer claims the multi-million-dollar budget increase was sprung on her Tuesday night.
If we're going to be collaborative, having a budget with literally 17 hours to take a look at it in advance of a meeting, a public hearing like this, is just not acceptable. We've got to have a working relationship. I can't, for the life of me, fathom why there was no collaboration done up until this point.
Michael Calhoun goes in depth on this story coming up this morning on Total Information AM at 8:24. From the KMOX business desk, the St. Louis Public Library has received a $50,000 grant from the Carnegie Corporation of New York. The grant, in part, is to commemorate the country's 250th anniversary and also Andrew Carnegie's enduring legacy of libraries across the country. Coming up on Total Information AM, non-native plants, insects, and animals can cause problems for your property. Debbie Monterrey will talk with Davy Tree arborist Alex Hall.
Zach Bryan with Heaven on Tour.
Poison myself again. Something in the orange tells me you'll never.
Saturday, March 7th, the Dome at America's Center. With special guests, Camp and J.R. Carroll. Tickets are on sale now at ZachBryan.com. Don't miss Zach Bryan live.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very good friend John Moriarty from E3 Wealth. John and I go back years and years and years. John, it's great to have you back in the DGS fold. Tell everyone who's unfamiliar with E3 Wealth what you guys are all about.
Thanks, Dave. So happy to be back. E3, the 3 E's stand for Educate, Empower, Enlighten. We founded the firm, and sometimes we refer to it as E3 Consultants Group, because we want to proactively challenge the status quo as to how Americans are educated about money and finance-related decisions. It's a lot. So really what we try to do for our clients is help them think differently about money. And recently we've been doing a ton of things with business owners because we see that as an area where we can provide tremendous growth for them, because we can help them build wealth through their business and also reduce their income tax liabilities. And when you can do that for a business owner, it makes a huge difference in their life.
It's kind of one-stop shopping for all finances, personal and business.
Absolutely. Yes, that's our focus. That's what we're attempting to do with our new book that's coming out called The Entrepreneur Playbook. We're going to be able to help a lot of people understand strategies, ideas on how to build their wealth and also protect it.
So John is a total pro, completely vouch for him as a person. Love this guy. No pressure, no hard sales. You want to learn more about your finances, personal and business, reach out to John at e3wealth.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
8:10, time to check the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, northbound 55, Megan, still just kind of slow from Bayless up to River to Pear. North 270, a little bumper-to-bumper stretch briefly at 44, but basically Big Bend up to Ladue still pretty slow. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, Lake St. Louis in through T.R. Hughes, there's a couple of slow spots. It's a little busy between 94 and 5th Street, and again, from Bermuda into our Jennings Station. Eastbound 64, Prospect midway into Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It's a little slow, Mason to 270, and from Lindbergh into Big Bend. South 170 bogs down near Delmar. Westbound 64 from the Science Center headed out to Hanley's. Heavy eastbound 44. There's some slow stuff east of Elm to Laclede Station. Westbound Grand to Kings Highway roadwork delays. On the Illinois side, roadwork delays on 64 from 50 through 159, and then 64 still slow from the 70 split to the Poplar. Eastbound 44 getting on to westbound 70 past the Mutual Veterans Bridge is also a little heavy. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Plenty of sunshine today with a high of 58, then clear tonight, though 39. Sunny, warmer tomorrow, high 73. A mix of sun and clouds Saturday, not as warm, the high 65. Sunday will be cloudy, breezy, and much colder. There could be a little rain in the afternoon, perhaps even some snow and sleet mixed in, mainly north and west of the city. Sunday's high just 43. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We have sunny skies this morning, 38 degrees in Florissant. It's 36 in St. Peter's, 38 downtown at the Arch. You're listening to Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's Debbie Monterrey.
Well, there is a week for everything, but this is one that you probably should pay a little closer attention to because it's National Invasive Species Awareness Week. That's right. And Alec Hall is an arborist with Davy Tree. There are a lot of things that people can pay attention to in their own yard and their own environment, including invasive bugs and invasive plants, right?
That's right. Yeah, and being that it is National Invasive Species Awareness Week, I know there's a week for everything, like you said. This is a really important one, though, right? The U.S. Forestry Service, they estimate that the amount of damage that's done through, both invasive species of insects and plants costs us, close to $200 billion a year, right? So it is really important that you kind of take stock of what you have at your house and do what you can.
I know a lot of people have probably heard of emerald ash borer. We've been talking about that for years now, which affects ash trees, but I was not familiar with the bronze birch borer, and I love birch trees.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, the emerald ash borer, a lot of people are aware of that, and especially us being here in the city, you probably noticed that we've cut most of our ashes down now. There are some municipalities where they were able to keep their ash trees via inoculating those trees from that pest, right? So even with any of these invasive pests, there's usually a way to remediate the problem. Now, what we're facing now is the bronze birch borer. It's not necessarily a new pest. However, traditionally this borer only affected a certain type of white birch. What you'll notice living here in the city is that we have a lot of river birches they have kind of the peeling bark, the exfoliating bark. They're really pretty
They're very
trees.
white. They're really cool looking.
Really, yeah. And this bronze birch borer, it wasn't known to really attack those trees in the past. Okay. But now we're seeing it over the past couple of years via lab testing and different things that this pest has now jumped from its original host, and it's kind of affecting our urban river birches now as well.
Well, if people see things like this, what should they do?
So there's certain things that you really need to get ahead of before you see them. Emerald ash borer is a great emerald ash borer would be a great thing to speak on with that. If you have an ash, you must inject it. Don't wait until it has emerald ash borer. That's kind of a losing battle, right? So if you have one and it's within your means to do so, inject the tree to keep it. The same thing goes for the river birches. If you have a river birch, call an arborist, have it evaluated to see if it's a good candidate to preserve. And if it is, then certainly go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you'll lose it.
One thing I'm noticing on this particular block, especially where I walk my dog, is the oak trees all have these galls, and some of them are just ridiculously covered. If you haven't seen them, folks, it's like the oak tree branches have giant warts and huge balls of something on them.
Sure. Yeah. So that's the oak galls is certainly something that's almost unique to the Midwest. So we have offices in different states where this isn't a problem, but specifically here in St. Louis, almost all of our pin oaks in particular have that oak gall. It's caused by a wasp, as you may or may not have known. And they deposit their eggs into the twigs of the tree, which causes this gouty growth to then form. Control on that is a little bit more less. It's less certain than with emerald ash borer or bronze birch borer. So most certainly there are steps that you should take, and definitely call an arborist if you see that on one of your trees. But it's a longer conversation. Yeah, so it's a longer conversation.
Yeah, I feel bad because I love oak trees, and
yeah, well,
like
with like any ailment, there may be complex treatment protocols and not so complex treatment protocols, and most certainly with the gouty oak gall, it's a more complex with less of a certain outcome.
I want to talk a little bit about some of the plants that we see, especially in the city, although I'm sure this happens in the suburbs as well, but honeysuckle.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it can smell pretty good. At times, it really takes over. So is it bad to just let it go? What should people know about honeysuckle?
It is bad to let it go. When you were a kid, I don't know if you ever would pull the honeysuckles out and because there'd always be a drop of that sweet, not actually honey, but
nectar or something.
The nectar in there. It was delicious. Yeah. I remember doing that at grandma's house. But if you have honeysuckle, you absolutely should remove it. Many people will use it kind of as a screen because it is a vigorous growing plant, right? And if you're right up on your neighbors, it can provide you some coverage from, in privacy. So it does serve a purpose there. However, the spread of it is very bad for Missouri forests. Insofar as it spreads, it kind of chokes out all of our native plants that are underneath it. So if you can get rid of honeysuckle, do so. That really is kind of the big one of all the things that we've talked about so far. That may be the most widespread damaging invasive species of plant, even more so than these pests that we talked about. Honeysuckle really is a major problem nationwide. What
about the official city weed tree?
Oh,
the tree of heaven.
The tree of heaven, yeah. The tree of heaven. I personally, and hopefully other arborists don't get mad at me for saying this. Not the highest thing on my list, and I only say that because it's not going to spread as easily as honeysuckle, right? The honeysuckle, if you don't control it in your yard,
It takes over.
yeah, the
in
next year
2 weeks.
it's done. All right, it's done. But you'll notice a tree of heaven growing, right? And just cut it. When it's as tall as you, then you can cut it down before it gets to the point where the birds are spreading it and whatnot. But they're very weak trees, so they break commonly. They grow. I don't know about you. They grow in my alley.
Oh,
and,
everywhere in
yeah.
between, like along the fence lines and everything.
They grow in places where normal trees can't grow, and they tend to break easily. So,
what are privets? Do I know what that is?
you probably do. I mean, privets is more of a family of plants. People plant them in their landscapes. They're kind of a landscape shrub. You probably buy them at some nurseries. If we're talking about landscape plants, can I pivot from the privet?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So I found this interesting. Another very popular landscape plant that you're probably aware of is the burning bush, right?
Yes.
Okay, so just in last May, I believe it was, the state of Missouri declared that an invasive species because those burning bushes, they live for like 300 years.
Wow.
Right? So they're causing some of the same issues that honeysuckle's causing for us because you can't kill them, right? So that's a major one that I think that I see more commonly than privets, right? We have burning bushes that have lasted multiple generations in people's family homes. And now they're on the invasive list. So a very popular plant that was just recently added.
I know that we have only just touched the tip of the iceberg here, where we didn't even get to some other pests like the box tree moth, and I'm sure people are familiar with Japanese beetles that are out there. Is there a place does Davey have any information online where people could get more on invasive
Yeah, absolutely.
pests
Just
and trees?
www.davey.com. They have there's a large range of literature on all of these things. Another good resource is the Missouri Department of Conservation, and of course, our Missouri Botanical Gardens, right?
And if you're going to plant some trees and bushes, you can definitely do a little bit of research and find some things that are native to Missouri that won't be a problem.
Won't be a problem for now, as far as we know, right?
As the environment changes.
As the environment changes, we don't, things change. But most certainly, yeah, try to plant natives if you can.
Alec Hall is an arborist with Davey Tree, and we're getting you some information as we're all getting spring fever. It is National Invasive Species Awareness Week, so just keep those tips and pests in mind as you're heading out into the yard. Thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. And just ahead on KMOX.
It could become a crisis, the mayor says, after the state police board passes a big budget increase for itself.
We don't have those funds sitting around.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
First, though, we need to get you a check of the roads. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got a new crash, Megan. This traffic reports the service of S&L Coins, eastbound 64 slow Prospect toward Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Then you're jammed Clarkson to a point east of Timberlake. We have a crash. It looks minor. It's on the shoulder, but they do have the right lane blocked for it. It's still slow east of Lindbergh into Big Bend. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley, still heavy. North 270, Gravois up through most of the way to Ladue is still slow. Northbound 55, Bayless to River to Pear. Eastbound 44, slow approaching the Poplar out onto 70 through Branch. Eastbound 70 still kind of busy in spots coming out of Cool Valley through Jennings Station. And westbound 64 delays, 50 through 159 and west of 3rd Street to the Poplar. Eastbound 64 heavy, approaching 159. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
S&L Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call S&L. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. S&L Coin.
Mostly sunny skies today, a high of 58. Clear tonight, an overnight low of 39. Right now, sunny skies, 38 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It's Tom Ackerman. We're going to get up to what? 73 degrees tomorrow on Friday. My goodness, that is Ted Drew's weather if I've ever heard it. Ted Drew's Frozen Custard 6726 Chippewa is open and ready for you. 1929 is when that frozen custard stand started. 97 years ago, generations of family-owned business, Ted Drew's Frozen Custard. You know what you like at Ted Drew's. Maybe you're going to try something different this year, or maybe you go to your old standby. Mine is the Heath Bar Concrete. I love Ted Drew's Frozen Custard. It is delicious. It's a family tradition. I even sometimes will head over to that gift shop and do a little shopping across the parking lot. 6726 Chippewa, Ted Drew's Frozen Custard, a tradition here in St. Louis, an institution. Ted Drew's, they're hiring, by the way. Come check out Ted Drew's Frozen Custard, open now on Chippewa.
Italian subs for your finance team at Chicago. Easy Cater. Burritos for your call center crew in Plano. Easy Cater. Bagels for your sales reps meeting clients in Charlotte. Easy Cater. Hot chicken sandwiches for your third shift warehouse workers in Memphis. Easy Cater. Your teams may be spread out across the country, but you've got one platform to feed them all, whenever and wherever they work, with food they love from favorite restaurants. Easy Cater. Food for the workplace, all in one place. Order now at easycater.com.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
You're back with Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. Mayor Kara Spencer sounding the alarm over a massive new police budget, warning it could force sweeping layoffs across the city, as well as leave City Hall and city parks unprotected. KMOX's Michael Calhoun goes in depth.
Those are expenses of the police department, whether or not, Mr. Gravel, whether or not.
Police board members say it's time to repair buildings and hire hundreds more officers. Mayor Spencer says she supports the police and thinks they're doing a good job. Just look at the crime stats, but says you can't spring a massive spending increase on a city that's already struggling. She notes she didn't even get to see the budget till 17 hours before this meeting.
We have to build trust here, and failing to be transparent and collaborative with the city is doing the opposite.
Board Chair Chris Saraceno responds.
There was nothing held back, no information held back other than not getting it done timely for you, Mayor, or for the city of St. Louis.
Mr. Saraceno, I do take a bit of offense to that, because there have been several times we've asked questions and they still remain. And yes, Mr. Grill, I have that set of emails right here with my questions unanswered, still remaining here. I do have some additional questions about this particular budget. In particular, with regards to the park rangers and the marshals, I see they've been line itemed out of the budget as they have historically been. Can you speak to that, please?
That would be a question for Mr. Daniels. We'll have to talk to him about it and get an answer for it.
So does the police department no longer plan to protect the city buildings and the parks?
I guess I'm not sure I understand your question. Maybe I can address your question.
They've been line itemed out in the budget as we have always known it.
I mean, I know it's a service the PD provides to the city of St. Louis.
It is a service that the PD performs. And I would argue that all the services that the PD performs are services to the city of St. Louis. And if we're going to start line iteming out whether or not we're protecting parks, are we also going to line item out whether or not we protect the streets?
I don't think that's the question.
State law requires the city to allocate up to 25% of its general revenue to the police, but the city budget director and the police board attorney disagree over how that percentage is calculated. Spencer says she needs an answer right away.
We've got to have it very quickly, because otherwise I'm going to be looking at my streets department, my refuse department, and every other city department and making massive layoffs.
She says the police board passed what amounts to a 35% increase in its budget. That includes the surprise $48 million, plus previously reported increases in retirement benefits. She says it adds up to about $70 million.
This budget is a real slap in the face to the city workers who work in every other department, who not only deserve raises as well, but deserve to keep their jobs. This budget would absolutely decimate the city's ability to do basic city services across the board.
Police board attorney Chris Gravel.
We understand we have more to work directly with the city, directly with your staff, to get to an understanding of it. The math is not difficult.
Both sides acknowledge the budget is not final and negotiations will continue. For Total Information AM, Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Spencer notes the board is controlled by the state, and so commissioners do not answer directly to the voters of St. Louis. It's now 8:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Just ahead on Total Information AM, boys and young men say they want more sensitive examples of masculinity in movies and on TV. Let's get a check now of the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, traffic's improving, Megan, on the drive-in, but we still have some issues. This traffic report service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, it looks like they opened up the right lane now. That crash is still on the shoulder, eastbound 64, east of Timberlake. Traffic is backed up from Chesterfield Parkway west up to it. Then you're still slow east of Clayton Morrison into Big Bend. Westbound 64, Science Center to Hanley's heavy. Northbound 270, north of 44 up to 64 is pretty busy. South 270 approaching 44 is a little slow. We have a crash in the safety V at the West 44 exit. Northbound 55, Bayless up to River to Pear, still a little heavy. Eastbound 44 past the Arch Park is slow. And westbound 6450, most of the way to 157 is pretty heavy, but it has cleared out as you head for the Poplar Street Bridge. On 100 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has been repairing and replacing garage doors for same-day repair service and no extra charge for evening or Saturday service. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, mostly sunny today, a high of 58. Clear tonight with a low of 39. And then tomorrow, sunny and warmer, a high 73. We have sunny skies, 38 degrees now downtown at the Arch. Well, there's no shortage of examples of hyper-masculine, manly men characters in Hollywood.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of Felix.
The muscular, fearless, tough-as-nails type of men portrayed in the movie Gladiator has been the norm for generations compared to some of the portrayals of sensitive men.
We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race, and the human race is filled with passion.
But new research from UCLA's Center for Scholars and Storytellers suggests that American men and boys are yearning to see more sensitive and vulnerable men in movies and TV. Odyssey's Margaret Carrero spoke with senior researcher Matt Puritz. He surveyed boys and men ages 10 to 24, asking them questions about what type of male characters they'd like to see.
As you well know, in our society these days, it seems like more and more in the more recent past, we've been seeing a lot more of the stereotypical masculine kind of rising to the surface again. We were starting to move in the other direction, and then it swung back the other way.
Like you alluded to, we saw that almost 60% of adolescents across age groups and race and gender said that they wanted to see fathers who enjoy parenting, who are affectionate with their kids. Slightly fewer, but a similar amount said that they want to see men who express their emotions, who ask for help, who seek mental health care. But I think like when we look at it in the context of the type of masculinity that young people are seeing a lot in the media that they consume, if we broaden it from just TV and film, I mean, there's a lot of research that shows that especially young boys are seeing a lot of content online that is more like a restrictive version of masculinity that's all about your worth comes from the amount of money that you make, from how muscular you are, from your ability to like fight or protect physically. Part of what we're seeing is an appetite for some counter messaging that is showing a different type of masculinity than that.
And what does that say to you, the fact that you're seeing that in the younger generations?
There's some sense that, you know, maybe that type of masculinity isn't the only kind out there, and also maybe isn't the kind that actually makes them feel good. I mean, there's a lot of research that links this more like restrictive masculinity media diet to things like loneliness and isolation. And I think young people know that that doesn't necessarily feel good, you know? And so they are seeking maybe an alternative to that. And I think they're more savvy about what that kind of masculinity might look like and what they're looking for than we might necessarily give them credit for.
Younger boys in the survey were most likely to ask for more affectionate fathers in movies and TV. A majority of older teens and young adults wanted to see more nurturing male figures in media. It's 8:35, and we'll check your money report next.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Dunhone. We'll get to that report in just a moment.
Tom Ackerman for McKelvey Homes. My friend Jim Brennan, the president of McKelvey Homes, runs an outstanding business, one that finds the best home sites for you, that builds the best homes with outstanding craftsmanship. They've been doing this for many, many years. In fact, McKelvey Homes is Missouri's oldest home builder. Did you know that? Going back to 1898. And they remain the best. And they always find, as I mentioned, those great home sites like Cottleville Trails, like Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon, Missouri, like the reserve at Wildwood. These are wonderful areas to live. Think about a new, fresh start. and you can read about them, see the photos online at McKelveyHomes.com. That's where you can explore all of the options. McKelvey Homes. Move up to McKelvey, and please visit them online at McKelveyHomes.com. The one and only McKelvey Homes in St. Louis and St. Charles County.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Trying to wake up this morning? How about some Celsius? Its stock has risen 12% after posting sales which more than doubled from a year earlier. Celsius is benefiting from broader energy drink trends as people more and more are choosing them over ready-to-drink coffee. Not sweet news for Sweetgreen. The chain says it lost $5 billion thanks to its Ripple fries that just were not selling, as well as lettuce shortages. The side items doomed introduction and swift demise after just a few months are a microcosm of Sweetgreen's disastrous year in which the company squandered 80% of its market value. Johnsonville, the popular sausage company, is gearing up for grill season with an unexpected new ingredient: Dr. Pepper. The two brands have teamed for the launch of Johnsonville Dr. Pepper-inspired sausage. The company says the new sausage is inspired by the soda's original 23-flavor blend. It'll be on store shelves beginning Sunday. Matt Piper, Bloomberg Radio.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R. Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Stewie, let's talk about refinancings, and let's just bottom line this. Everyone needs money at some point in their life.
You know what, Dave? There's so many different ways you can make money. Number one, go to a lower rate. If you're financed over the last 3 years, chances are you're paying a higher rate than what you can today. Refinance with the Bagel loan, no closing costs at all. That's number one. Number two, a lot of people are concerned not about the cash flow, but overall interest that you're paying. Go from a 30-year to a 20-year. The rates are lower on a 20-year versus a 30-year. Save hundreds of thousands of dollars. And third is the really easy way. You need cash. I need cash. Take cash out. Refinance now. Take the money you need. Keep the payment the same. It's easy. It's simple. All with no closing costs with that Bagel loan.
If you're looking to save money, get a little cash to your pocket, and do it with the right person, give Stewie a call or a text on his personal cell phone, 314-324-4440, or Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS 226715.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brisati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
This is 104.1 FM, KMOX. Here's what's happening. The Missouri House gives initial approval to broadening the state attorney general's power to arrest and detain people. A special meeting of the Festus City Council tonight will consider whether to hire a consultant to move forward with a controversial data center proposal, and the Trump administration expanding its pressure on Iran by imposing new sanctions aimed at the country's missile, drone, and oil networks. Let's check the roads now with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we got a new trouble spot now on North 270. This traffic reports a service of Financial and Tax Strategies. That's a crash in the left center lane north of the Clayton Road overpass, but they're blocking the two left lanes right now. North 270 is bogged down back past Doherty Ferry, and stop-and-go pockets from Manchester up to that crash scene again north of the Clayton Road overpass. Eastbound 64 on the brakes, Chesterfield Parkway west of Clarkson, then slow to Timberlake from the earlier crash. McKnight through Big Bend's heavy. South 170 backs up at the Parkway. Westbound 64 Clayton Skinker to Big Bend slow. South 270 still slow south of Big Bend to 44 due to that crash, cleared to the shoulder at that point. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64 slow approaching 159 midway down the hill to 157. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Retirement shouldn't feel like balancing a checkbook while blindfolded. I'm Gary Goldberg, and my team helps you see the big picture so you can retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Because guessing is not a strategy. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
Expect a nice day today. It's going to be mostly sunny. We're looking for a high of 58 degrees. Right now, sunny skies, 38 downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. Welcome back to Total Information AM here on KMOX. The FBI says it's seeing an increase in criminals who have found a new way to steal cash out of ATM machines. It's called ATM jackpotting. I wanted to find out what the situation is in St. Louis, so he reached out to the local FBI office here. Joining me now on the line is Special Agent David Herr. David, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Megan.
So how does ATM jackpotting work? Maybe how is it different than other ways that crooks break into ATM machines?
Sure. What the criminals have found is a way to exploit certain vulnerabilities in the ATM software, and they're able to fool the machine into dispensing cash, almost like a slot machine that is always producing a jackpot.
Now, does this come out of people's individual accounts?
No, not at all. The ATM has cash in the cash canisters, and during the jackpotting incidents, the cash is removed from the canisters through a withdrawal process, basically, but it only is a loss to the bank, not to individual account holders, like other crimes would be.
How do these criminals get their malware into these ATM machines in the first place?
So two methods that we're seeing. One is they'll have a hard drive that they'll bring to the machine. They'll be able to access the internal hardware of the machine and replace the hard drive that's in there with their hard drive that contains the malware. The second way is that they'll actually use a thumb drive or some other device to upload the malware into the machine. So both ways we're seeing it, and both seem, unfortunately, very effective.
Is it too easy for these individuals to get into the hardware of these ATM machines?
So the way they get in is different in a lot of cases. Unfortunately, it's not that hard to do it. They're actually able to open the machine in such a way that when they're done and they close the machine back up, somebody passing by is not going to know that they've actually got into the machine. So it's not going to be until the bank gets an alert that the cash in the machine is significantly lower than it should be, or there's some other electronic security feature that alerts them that unauthorized access has been made into that machine.
How much have we seen this in our region?
So we haven't seen it as much here as we've seen it across the country. We just had a case last summer where we end up charging 4 people that who, I should say, basically went on a cash spree going from O'Fallon, Missouri down to Cape Girardeau. We've seen some other cases. We're working some other cases with Homeland Security and other local agencies. It's increasing over the nation, but fortunately, we're not seeing it as much here in St. Louis as other bigger cities are.
What is the agency recommending to banks and even consumers to try to watch out for this and stop it?
So they are sending out information to the banking associations. There's a warning that's been posted on our Internet Crime Complaint Center website, which is ic3.gov. Otherwise, what we've been telling local law enforcement and banks is to report any activity that seems kind of out of the ordinary. In order to get this done, people have to spend more time at the ATM than they would during a normal transaction. So if you're seeing someone that is lingering around the ATM, it may be a good idea to do a follow-up just to make sure that the ATM hasn't been tampered with.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would tell our listeners about this? Should we be worried about this in our region?
I mean, it's something that we're aware of, so we're trying to do our best to combat it. But no, I think that what we've discussed, I think, is basically a good summary of what we're seeing, and hopefully we'll keep on top of it.
Well, thank you so much for taking time this morning to come on with us and tell our listeners about it.
Megan, thank you so much for having me.
That is Special Agent Dave Herr with the FBI in St. Louis joining us this morning here on KMOX. Coming up next, we're going to tell you about a coalition of more than 100 organizations and leaders that wants to put a measure on the November ballot to help subsidize childcare in the city of St. Louis. Stay with us.
I met my wife in law school at the University of Florida. She was from upstate New York and I was from Kentucky. We met at a daily mass at St. Augustine's. She was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen in my life. After communion, I followed her out of the church and got her phone number. The rest is history. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Little did we know that one day we would have 4 children and the largest injury firm in the world. All 4 work in the business. It's a family business. Did I ever see this coming? Hell no. We just worked very hard and treated our clients like we would want to be treated, like family. It's a full-service injury firm, auto accidents, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, Social Security, and insurance disputes. We're open 24/7, 365 days a year. Visit forthepeople.com and we can get to work on your case. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Working full-time but still falling behind? Learn how real estate education can help you build income and get ahead on your terms. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Every spring brings promises, and every spring delivers surprises. This year, the Cardinals are writing a new story, and there will be plenty of surprises. Mac Pauley is in Jupiter with inside access to Camp Cardinals.
Presented by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And Happy Roof. We always create happy endings.
From breakout performances to roster revelations, get reports throughout the day on the voice of the Cardinals. KMOX.
You're back with Total Information AM here on KMOX. Thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday morning. And as I mentioned, a coalition of more than 100 organizations and leaders is working to put a measure on the November ballot that would help subsidize childcare in the city of St. Louis. Joining me in studio to tell us more about the initiative called Best Start for Kids, STL, is Mackenzie Grayson, campaign manager with Best Start. Mackenzie, good morning to you this morning.
Good morning.
And we also have Lisa Scher. She is child care director with Baden Christian Child Care Center. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
So what are you hearing from families and child care providers about the ongoing challenges that they are facing right now?
Honestly, it's nonstop. There is a lack of trust with the provider community, and they are in dire straits.
Yeah, as a child care provider, we are facing a lot of things right now with state subsidy. And we know that lots of families are not able to, especially in this economy, afford childcare. Many of them, their mortgage is more than their childcare is more than their mortgage. And so we have a lot of support from families that really need help.
What about when we talk about spots available, quality staffing availability, the ability to pay them, what they should have, to care for these kids?
To me, this is where Best Start comes in. Best Start is a citizen-led campaign that will help families be able to afford childcare. Providers will be able to have access to grants that will help them improve teacher pay. It will help them be able to offer benefits to their teachers, also to help them improve their learning environment. So that is why Best Start for Kids, STL.
Now, Mackenzie, I understand you're launching a petition drive this weekend to start gathering signatures to get this on the November ballot. Now, we're talking about a half-cent sales tax. Whenever we talk about taxes, people think about this is going to hit me in the pocketbook. Give us the sell. Why should people pay more to help other people out with childcare?
Absolutely. We want childcare to be affordable. We want families to be able to go to work. Families aren't able to secure jobs because childcare is not affordable, or they live in a childcare desert. And so, Lisa, if you want to add to that.
We know that for every dollar that we invest in childcare, there's a $14 return. We're losing families in the city of St. Louis because we don't have a program like this that helps with childcare. We need more businesses and things. If we want them to come back to the city, we need to be able to help them with childcare. This we know is the most expensive thing that they had. Like I said, it's more than their mortgage. So this is going to be able to help families across the board. Whatever your tax bracket is, we want to help everyone with childcare.
What does this do when you've got a parent who maybe they're cobbling together a couple of jobs? You know, they're trying, Lisa, to figure out what their schedule is going to be at the child care facility. You're trying to juggle your staffing to meet those needs. How hard is that?
It's very difficult. We see families right now. A lot of services are changing. We know since COVID, even we've lost nights and weekends, and lots of parents have non-traditional hours. And trying to work that in and then pay staff an affordable living, a livable wage. Very difficult to maneuver those things.
Has this been tried in other places, Mackenzie?
Yes, in New Mexico, New York has just done some things for universal child care. Colorado is working on some initiatives as well. So yes, this has been done in other states across the nation.
So if this were approved, how would it be administered? What specifically would the money generated by this be used for?
This money will be going to an early childhood education fund, and that way, that's where it will be able to be accessed from. So, like I said, families will be able to access this money because there will be a sliding scale where families of all income can be able to access, and providers, there will be grants set up that all child care providers will be able to apply for, and it will benefit their centers.
Who will oversee the administration of those funds?
There will be an early childhood board created from the mayor's office.
How many signatures do you need to get this on the November ballot?
We need over 30,000 signatures.
Okay.
So we will be in the community. We will be working hard. This weekend at the kickoff, there will be an opportunity. We'll have some training. There will be an opportunity to sign our petition. And we'll also ask community to pledge how much support they can give us in going out to gather signatures.
I mentioned at the top that there are dozens of organizations that are involved in this. Obviously, we can't list them all on here right now, but give us a sense of the breadth of the types of organizations and leaders that are pushing for this.
We have a lot of organizations, United for Children. We have
Aldermen and women.
Yes.
Different city officials as well. We're hoping to get some support from the mayor.
We have about 30 plus childcare providers that signed on to the coalition, that believe in this work, that are excited about this work.
We're just now kicking it off, so we're hoping to get more of that. But yeah, we've seen a lot of good community support. People want to see this.
So for the kickoff coming up this weekend, where can people go to get more information on that?
Our website is beststartforkids.org, and they can go there. We will be at Antioch Baptist Church from 12 to 2 on Saturday. So please come out. Lunch and childcare will be provided. And we have a full agenda, and we are excited.
I noticed childcare provided.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
There you go. All right, ladies, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming in studio today.
Thank you for having us.
That is Mackenzie Grayson, campaign manager for Best Start for Kids STL, and Lisa Shear, child care director with Baden Christian Child Care Center, joining us this morning here on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Ethos.
Trick yourself into a